GNT Show is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. These are the voyages of the GNT Show. Our continuing mission to explore Star Trek storytelling, to seek out new worlds and interesting characters, to bold we got where no show has gone before. Live long and prosper, bitches.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the GNT Show, episode 230. I'm Terry Lynn. To my right, your left, this morning, wearing, I don't know.
You know, you tried. Don't even try.
I don't know. I can't figure out what the hell it is.
No, don't even try.
The bunny suit.
Stop
the bunny
it.
suit?
Stop it.
Kind of like from
You're just embarrassing
Christmas Story.
yourself.
Did your aunt make it for you with the little bunny feet?
That's just
Gettysburg
you're just
7?
embarrassing yourself. It's a lion cub, first of all.
The ears should have given her away.
And there she is to my left, your right, wearing her pointed hat and her robes, the Professor McGonagall of our show. It's Terry Lynn.
Transfiguration is not a punishment.
It's true. Very true. And there he is to my right, your left, our very own Hagrid himself. It's Ceridium.
Kapla.
Ceridium
Wibbly
from the House of
wobbly woo.
There she is across the table from us, our very own Hermione Granger. It's Jesfa.
2468, time to transubstantiate. Good morning.
Is that a Jewish thing?
Genuflect. Sorry. Funny song.
See, Terry knows.
I know that song.
And there he is in his black robes with his greasy hair. It's Snape.
Now, what are 3-4 Gryffindors such as yourselves doing indoors on a day like today? One would think you are up to something.
You're trying so hard, but there really is only one Rickman.
That is true.
Well, not anymore, but there was only one Rickman.
There was. There is no more.
Holy crap. Let's just get straight to Coffee Clutch.
What did you do this week? Coffee Clutch.
Oh my god, you guys. Gary Shandling?
Yes.
Yeah, what the hell is with this year?
I'm just like, what? I can't believe it.
If you're a celebrity from our childhood, be very afraid.
Yeah, no shit.
No.
Just, not to start off the show with something happy, but oh my god, I can't believe that Gary Shandling died. It's just so strange. He was a very funny man.
And meanwhile, Jerry Springer is still walking around.
I don't know.
I was
God,
watching
stopped the
old Tonight shows from like the 70s with Don Rickles and people like that. You know the beautiful thing? Remember when America let you be free?
How long ago was this?
Watching Johnny Carson smoke at his desk.
Yeah,
Just, freedom.
You're still free to smoke, but,
Oh, in some states now you can't even smoke in your car anymore.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
We still
Especially if you have a child anywhere within like 20 feet of it.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's the secondhand smoke exposure on your kids.
Yeah.
Hey, I grew up with secondhand dip, from secondhand spit, and I'm fine.
This explains a lot.
I grew up with secondhand smoke, and
So did
I started smoking myself, but
you know what? The house is next. Well, here in Maryland, they had a law where you couldn't smoke in your own yard because it could drift into the neighbor's yard.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
that's
it had to
that's
get
asinine.
it had to get stricken down because somebody complained that the neighbor was on their deck smoking and they could smell it 12 doors down. It really was. It was some obscene amount down, and so there was a law and blah blah, and then it got overturned.
It got repealed. Okay. All sorts
it
of
got
stupid.
overturned by another court, by a higher court.
Right.
The legislature wasn't going to change it.
But that's
God forbid Montgomery County anyway.
I agree. That's stupid.
On a cold winter morning, there's nothing like that first drag of secondhand smoke. Oh God, it's just wonderful.
Well,
By the way, he's not kidding. He is not kidding.
Do you remember waking and the smell? Like my bedroom was on the second floor. I remember waking up to the smell of that cigarette downstairs.
I quit 19 years ago, and every so often I smell a cigarette and I go, almost want one.
We were talking the other day about how great a pipe smells,
With certain types of tobacco,
like the
yes.
cherry tobacco.
Yeah, my father was a big fan of the cherry tobacco.
You know what that's the smell of? Freedom.
That's
What
the
that's the smell of.
Speaking
Oh
of
my
Havana.
God. Matthew Anderson comes back with them. And the chat room strikes one again. That's great. So, Nick,
Yeah.
what'd you do this week?
I smoked a lot. I'm up to 6 cartons a week now.
Ooh.
My God, that's
Yeah,
a lot of money.
right. Yeah, my God. Oh my God. Yeah. Did you used to run in? Did your parents like say run in and get me a pack and
Are you kidding? When I was five,
Mhm.
I would walk to Hi Ho Market.
hi ho?
Hi Ho Market. And it turned into Pronto. Oh, it was Pronto Market, and then it turned into Hi Ho Market. So it was Pronto Market when I was 5. So I went to Pronto Market, and Mom would call down and say, "Terry's coming."
Yeah, right. I remember.
And my dad would write a check, and I would come back with no lie 4 cartons.
I remember we'd be in the car and we'd stop at the Arco next to the bowling alley, and a pack of Merit Ultralight Menthol, please. I still remember what I would get from my father.
My
Can't
mom.
smoke, but they want to open clinics so that you can shoot up heroin under supervision. Oh, look at that. Matthew Anderson smokes up. No, Matthew Anderson, we're talking about tobacco.
He said pipe tobacco.
Oh, well, no, he says I smoke a pipe myself.
Above it, it says my favorite tobacco is
Right.
Captain Black.
But he says I smoke a pipe myself. That could mean any number. Hello!
A
Good
bunny.
Lord.
It's a bunny. Thank you,
Hey, I
son.
did.
Dave Mack must be like ecstatic about all the Easter bunnies on his feed today.
What about you, Mikey? What'd you do this week?
Quite a lot, actually. I was asked by ScienceFiction.com to do a fanfic story featuring Doctor Who, so I thought it was an interesting
Nice challenge.
challenge, so I did that. It should be published there soon. It features the Doctor, it features River, and Jim the Fish.
That's awesome.
Let's see, what else did we do? Oh, we had a supplemental log this week with
Yes, we did.
James Kipley and Wyatt Linhart from Star Trek Continues. He's Chekhov.
You guys, it was
Got
so
to check
much
off, check
fun.
off.
Yeah,
Check off.
that supplemental log, although it took a while.
It was
to
Mike's
get things
fault.
together.
That was an adventure.
It
to
was.
get that going. Me?
You all want to listen in to hear Wyatt's tale of how he met Vic. It's very
It's a
fun.
really great story.
Oh, yes.
Wyatt's story about how he, met Vic, and then he essentially got
and
the part.
maybe
So
the most
funny.
intelligent discussion we've ever had about Vulcans on the show.
Yeah,
It was
we had
really well done.
great philosophical discussion.
And the last item that we did, and I'm surprised Nick hasn't mentioned it, we had a Gettysburg Address. Number
Yay.
2.
Yay.
Number 2 is out.
Awesome.
Oh, it's a number 2, all right.
I heard you had Don Burrito on.
That Don Burrito, it's a very messy too. It's like a salad shooter.
I showed it to my brother.
Ooh.
Oh my God, that's really funny. Sorry. I just let the chat room made me laugh.
So yeah, it's been fun. I showed it to my brother Nick, and he got through half of it before he had to turn it off. But kids were in the room. But he enjoyed it. So
Well, that's very nice to hear. Thank you. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, and remember, everyone that listens needs to send me a check for $1.
To me, Al Franken. Jessica, what about you? What'd you do this week?
All right. Well, I started all this stuff for my capstone because over the summer I'll be working on. It'll be blog, YouTube, and Twitter and Facebook about how to market yourself if you're an independent writer. So I'm, like making accounts and all that housekeeping stuff. But also in the meantime, there's a sparrow living in our broken front porch light. So, and I've looked at that poor little scared bird in the eye several times. And so we leave the light on for it, and she seems to like it. So we've named her Portia because she lives in the porch. And so we We're gonna be grandparents.
You're
It's very
gonna be
exciting.
grandparents, little baby babies. Oh,
A little tiny wing, and she'll fly in and out. We'll watch her, and it's just very. It's nature here in the city. I mean, we live in the city. We vote for the mayor. We are part of the city. But yep, we got nature. It's awesome.
that's so great. Yeah, nature has not been our problem lately. We had a snake. We had our first snake sighting this week.
Ooh, how'd the dogs handle that one?
Oh, actually, they didn't see it. It was just a little baby bull snake, so it was only about a foot and a half long, Alan.
Yeah, about that long.
Just and it was a tad cold because it got cold again.
It had shrinkage.
Well, you know how reptiles are, man. They just don't move. When it gets cold, they just.
Shit, I must be a reptile.
Dog walks in with a stick. That's no stick.
That's exactly right. Oh, that's cute. They said I could be anything, so I became an Easter.
Wow.
Yeah, nature has not been our problem.
I also saw the big blockbuster of the current time this weekend.
And are the reviews on point?
Pretty much.
Oh man.
If this tells you anything, now you know me pretty.
And
well.
I was going to say you're really, really open-minded when it comes to these things.
I was. Remember, the more I thought about it, the more excited I was getting. I will say this, first of all, Ben Affleck, anybody who was like, oh, Ben Affleck, well, you have egg on your face. As we said a long time ago, let it come out before you say anything. And I would not be adverse to seeing him back in the bat suit. Let me put it like that.
That's nice to
the
hear.
guy buffed up like you wouldn't believe. I mean, Jesus. And he's very good in the costume. We knew he would be. Ben Affleck. Look, Daredevil was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was.
You know.
And they didn't handle it right. It wasn't well written.
Nobody holds the Burbs against Tom Hanks. But yet somehow,
Exactly.
But
I dozed off like 20 minutes in.
Did you really?
I was gonna say, Mike, I fell asleep for about 5 minutes in it.
About 20 minutes in?
No, right after the desert scene.
There was a desert scene?
Where he,
Oh man.
where he dreams that he's in the desert. Yeah, I dozed off.
Damn it. I missed the desert scene.
I woke up when Superman was going before the Congress.
Okay.
But I would love to say that Henry Cavill was good in it, but I think you really need to say more than 10 words in a movie for me to judge your performance.
Arnold didn't in Terminator 2.
But it really, he has so little dialogue. Am I wrong, Mike?
It's all moody looks.
There were two, Terry, if this tells you anything, there were two teenage girls in front of me, about 17 years old. Total fangirls. Like when the scene comes up where you see Aquaman and Cyborg and the Flash, and it's very brief and it's setting up in the future. It's not giving anything away. We've known forever that they were going to be in that. They were all excited and like the arms were moving and all of this. And I was talking to them after the movie and they were universal in saying, wow, that movie, they were not heroic at all.
Wow, that's a shame.
And the most heroic thing in the movie comes with about 20 minutes left, and that's when Wonder Woman shows up. By far, total heroic. I actually moved to the edge of my seat when she's on, the very small amount of time she's on. It's a far better movie. There's no sunlight in this movie whatsoever, and on the week of the Brussels bombing,
it
would have been nice to have a movie where the heroes were heroic, and not emo. They kept calling Superman Emo Man, if that tells you anything. The two girls, not me. The two girls.
They did. Okay.
Yeah, they kept calling him Emo Man.
Okay, that's bad right there.
It's a beautiful looking movie. Zack Snyder can fucking film the shit out of anything. He films beautifully.
But he has the same problem that a lot of other people do right now, and that is they're filming for look as opposed to character.
And the less said about Jesse Eisenberg, the better. If he had played Lex Luthor like he played Zuckerberg in The Social Network, it would have been a knockout of the park, home run, awesome. But he
just plays a little bitch, doesn't he?
he plays it like something from Laugh Olympics.
Really?
It's so over the top.
Oh my god.
How weird.
And for everything else, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Sorry, Janice. Or Janet.
Yeah. It's just disappointing. And again, Warner Brothers doesn't seem to get that for as heavy as Marvel movies, they
Here's
can
a
be
question I have.
just serious. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, I don't agree, Nick, but go ahead.
Who did Deadpool?
That was 20th Century Fox?
Was it 20th Century?
I think so.
Mike?
I was going to say, Nick is saying Warner Brothers doesn't know. Well, I will say this: when it comes to animated, Warner Brothers knows exactly what they're doing, but they can't get their head out of their ass when it comes to live action.
Oh, I agree. But yeah, when it comes to the live act, first of all, they're trying to copy the Marvel model and do this whole expanded cinematic universe and everything. But here's the problem. Marvel has had this planned out and has this planned out for like the next 10 years.
And they have a guy in charge of the whole thing.
Exactly. This is... It feels like we've got to get this all together. We've got to get the Justice League together, blah, blah, blah. How long ago was Iron Man?
Yeah.
That started the whole thing?
And it's still relevant to the stories that they're telling.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and Terry, the other thing with Deadpool, part of the reason Deadpool was so fucking spot on awesome was because Ryan Reynolds is such a fanboy of Deadpool that he was insisting that they stay true to the character.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, that was... But, you know... this.
Well, I mean,
and this is two separate movies. This is
Right.
Batman versus Superman.
I was more
it's Batman
curious as
versus
to whether or
Superman,
not.
And it's also the Trinity against Doomsday. Would you agree, Mike?
I would say that it's probably 3 movies. I mean, it was all over the place. I mean, there was so much going on. It really had that disconnected feel where you were there. It's like they were literally trying to do way too much all at the same time and had like no idea really what they were doing.
And an appeal to filmmakers in the future. If you ever make a Batman movie, we know that Thomas and Martha Wayne were killed in front of Bruce. We don't need it to see in every Batman movie. It's pretty much been established. We know how that happened.
You know what though? That was something that was gone over in the writer's room and probably with the studio going, but we may have people who don't know.
Well, yes, and you know what they are? Newcomers to the planet Earth.
We are working for our alien audiences here, folks.
Well, we didn't get to really finish what Janet did this week, so I want to make sure that we finish that up with
I'm
Alan
sorry,
too.
Janet.
Did I do this week? Anyway, yeah. So we're caring for we're caring for this poor little critter as much as we can. And basically, that just means we leave the porch light on all night, and so I blame her for our electric bill. And other than that, I'm just. It's I'm still swamped. Classes end in 6 weeks, something like that. More like 4. I graduate on May 14th, but I still have to do capstone. I will not have done that. So my summer is planned.
Wow.
It's in Project Libre, which is the freebie version of Microsoft Project, and I've got almost every day is booked. Basically, I'm going to be working a lot, folks.
Well, we are here for you.
Thank you.
Whatever we can do to make your life a little easier.
Well, at some point, I will have actually something to ask people to follow, but I have the accounts up, but there really isn't anything in them, so following them now is kind of silly. So, but sometime later. But so, thank you in advance.
Ali man, Kajiro,
Yes.
what did you do this week?
I worked. And
yes,
worked.
you did.
And worked. So, that's about all I had to say about that.
It's true,
Hey.
folks.
And now comes the fun, right? I hope.
Well, yeah, weekend is always fun when I'm not working.
Everybody's working for the weekend.
We actually have links and stuff, so let's start it off. We're going to start off with convention news.
All right.
Yay!
Fun! Convention news.
Some really great news for those who are going to be attending, like us at the G&T show, or like we at the G&T show. What's grammatically correct there?
Like them.
Us? Them?
Them? Who? What?
Spokespeople.
We dudes.
Pronoun trouble.
For Star Trek Mission New York, which of course is over Labor Day weekend at the Javits Center in New York City. Woohoo! I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun. Terry Farrell and Michael Dorn have been added as guests for Star Trek Mission New York, which is one. You can follow what's going on by, of course, anything. Pretty much StarTrek.com is starting to pick back up again, and their news columns have been pretty frequent. You can always go to StarTrek.com. And ReedPop, which is the company who's doing Star Trek Mission New York, is also the same company who does the New York Comic Con, the big beastie they have there. So it's going to be a different kind of event than Star Trek Las Vegas is going to be. Going to be far more like a Comic Con than it's going to be like that little focused kind of family oriented convention that they have in Las Vegas. Also, for the first time in a long time, I don't think he's ever appeared. I think he's been at FedCon in Germany, but Will Wheaton has been set for Destination Star Trek Europe, which this year is in Birmingham, UK, and it's kind of nice to hear that Will Wheaton is making an appearance at an official Star Trek convention again for the first time in a long time. He does not do creation conventions. I doubt that he'll be doing the 50th unless they come up to some kind of an agreement. So we don't expect to see Will Wheaton in Las Vegas, namely because we haven't seen Will Wheaton in Vegas. But it's great for those people in the UK, in England, or those who are traveling there to see Destination Star Trek. So congrats to those guys. I think Will Wheaton's going to be a great addition, namely because they do tend to pull a lot of the TNG get together. It's always really fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. And speaking of SCLV, I don't have the link handy, but
I do. I have it right here.
Whoopi.
Yeah.
Whoopi.
I know. I had it pulled up because I realized we hadn't talked about it. For the first time ever, Whoopi Goldberg is going to be making an appearance at a Star Convention. Yay for us. She will be attending and will be a guest at the 50th anniversary celebration in Las Vegas at Creation Con.
Will Ronnie Cox be there?
No, because he always goes to Ireland.
I don't care. Lieutenant Bogomil needs to be there.
I wish he would, but he just celebrated like the big old anniversary of oh my god, Deliverance. So no, but he always does a big thing in Ireland. He has his own kind of tour. You can join Ronnie Cox for a tour of Ireland and Irish music places, and you go around and you just listen to him and a whole bunch of people jam Irish music the whole time. I was like, for a quick reminder, a lot of people have been signed up already to be celebrity guests at the convention. We're hoping for a few more additions, and Aaron Eisenberg have not been named yet, but if we have our way, they will be.
And of course, we always want to see Star Trek authors there as well. So, Dave and Kevin.
And hopefully David Mack will be in New York, because I don't think he's going to be coming to Las Vegas. But William Shatner, wonderful news about Whoopi Goldberg. What's funny is that for years we always asked, she had been asked many, many times, why aren't you? And she has always said, I've never been asked. And probably because they thought she would be too expensive. So, yay, they actually decided to spend a little money. Thank you, Creation Entertainment.
She gonna get sushi?
That is awesome.
Oh, man.
She'll looks like she'll be there on Thursday.
Yep. So that's great, because that's the second day of the convention. It used to be the first day. This year it's going to be the second day.
I wonder if she'll be doing something for the View while she's there.
Maybe. Who knows?
Oh, that's interesting. She doesn't fly.
Oh,
she's
wow.
She's going to take the Madden Cruiser to L.A., from L.A. to Las Vegas.
Isn't the View done in New York?
No, I thought it was done in L.A.
I don't know. Thought I was done in New York. Oh, well.
Might be.
So the guests, of course, are William Shatner, Whoopi Goldberg, Kirstie Alley,
Hello.
On Friday.
and we'll be there on Friday the 5th, George Takei, Kate Mulgrew, Nichelle Nichols, Jerry Ryan, Walter Koenig. Oh, I'm so excited. Neil McDonough, Jonathan Frakes, Marina Sirtis, Michael Dorn, Brent Spiner, LeVar Burton, Gates McFadden, James Darren, Michael Westmore, Eugene Roddenberry, Bob Picardo, Tim Russ, Terry Farrell, Armin Shimmerman, Nicole DeBoer, Robert Beltran, Nana Visitor, Max Grodenchik, Ethan Phillips, Renee Aubergenois, Connor Trenier, Dominic Keating, Ronald D. Moore. He had to cancel last year, so it'll be good to see him back this year. Brandon Braga, Herman Zimmerman, Celeste Yarnall, Diana Muldaur, John Delancey, Diana Pulaski, Ike Eisenman, Chris Doohan, Garrett Wong, Jeffrey Combs, Casey Biggs, Vaughn Armstrong. That means the
Rat Pack.
The Rat Pack is there.
That's
Anthony
awesome.
Montgomery,
Such good times.
What was
The Rat Pack, so awesome. That I saw it last
and
year.
pretty much everybody who's in Enterprise Blues Band, we love them too. So Anthony Montgomery, J.G. Hertzler, Robert O'Reilly, Chase Masterson, Ronald B. Moore, Ira Stephen Bear, and his fabulous beard.
Thing is beautiful.
Sally Kellerman, Sirach Lofton, Susie Plaxon, Martha Hackett, Robin Curtis, Hallie Todd, Camille Saviola, Gary Lockwood, who Alan and I have had dinner with and had just the time of our life. The guy has amazing stories about Hollywood in the 50s and 60s. Oh my God, it's so funny.
I write that down. Hollywood 50s and 60s. I have a question for you after.
Jonathan Simpson.
Who?
He played young Sarek in Star Trek Voyager. Yeah. Hannah Hatay, Christopher Held, who played Lindstrom in the original series, Jack Donner, who played Tal, the Romulan in TOS, Doug Drexler, the wonderful,
lovely Doug Drexler,
the lovely Doug Drexler, Mike and Denise Okuda, the Okudas, and I'm very excited about that because they're going to be able to talk about the new encyclopedia that's coming out. Carolyn Seymour, who played Sub Commander Terrace in TNG, and she also played a couple of other roles as well. Love her. Her roles were always really fun. Will be there. Gwyneth Walsh, who played Bator, Andrew Robinson, or the handsome man, played Garrick, Eric Minyuk, who played the Traveler, and he's also a part of a comedy team, and Trevor Roth, who is Rod Roddenberry's partner, the business partner and co-executive producer for the upcoming Star Trek series. So that's everybody who's been announced so far for STLV, and we're very excited to be there. And you get to come by, if you get to go, come by and visit us in the vendors room.
There's something missing. There's something missing from this guest list.
There's a few.
J.J. Abrams?
Yeah, I was just going to say, there's no one that seems to be representing the new films on this guest list. So
well,
far.
the new TV show has not been cast yet, so
true. But we have Rod and Trevor showing up to kind of sort of represent that. I know Rod is there every year, but I'm saying at least we have some representation in the new series.
Mike, you think about this. August, the show's premiering in January. They are going to be hip deep in production.
True. But again,
I would rather that they be producing the show and getting it done than coming out to Vegas.
Yes, but where's the movie people? Where's the people?
They
from the
usually
movie?
only have one, right?
Yeah,
and they kind of have to, with the exception of Simon Pegg and Carl Urban, they usually Carl Urban.
And when does that movie come out?
Urban, huh?
When does that movie come out?
June, doesn't it? Yeah.
Is it June or July?
No, I think it comes out.
It's one
June.
of those.
But they have to. Everybody else, it takes a crowbar because there's still actors who don't want to be associated with a nerd.
Well, there are also a lot of them are very busy actors as well.
That's true.
True. Chris Pine is a very big. Zoe is an incredibly busy actress.
Yes, she is, and director and producer.
Yeah, I mean they're all. These films are not the only thing they're.
I'm just saying, it only takes one to represent.
But you know what? There's still
March, Mike.
It's only March.
There's still time, but
and they still plan on having at least 100 people, and they always save some of the best kind of for last on their announcements, kind of really to get people hyped up right before. Now, here's the thing. They don't have to worry about selling tickets. Why? Because they be sold out.
Yeah.
The whole
Wow.
thing is sold out.
Some guy posted on Facebook the most idiotic, it's not fair screed I've seen ever, saying basically people should only be allowed to buy one ticket. So if you have a family, tough.
Yeah, no. That's
What?
Go ahead, Jen.
So this is well, if you live in your mother's basement, that could actually work for you.
This was the ultimate in, but it's not fair that I couldn't get a ticket this year.
It is.
It's called life.
I have extra tickets to my graduation. If people want to come to New Haven, I'd
Love it.
I'll
Love
be
it.
selling them later.
When is that? I would
May 14th.
Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Do you want to sit with my parents? I'm serious.
I am beginning to wonder whether or not the fandom it is or will outgrow the creation platform.
Well,
And
obviously this year they have.
this year they have, and we'll
yeah,
see
but I bet
whether
you
or
next
not.
year it's going to be. I won't say sparse because that's
No, I think
That's
it'll
not
be
the right
just. I think it'll be if this goes well. I think it'll be a great kicking off point as to a larger convention type convention. I'm just the fact of the matter is creation only sells as many tickets as they have physical seats in the main ballroom for on any given day, right? They only sell as many seats as so that way they can actually advertise if you bought a ticket, you will have a seat in the main area for the convention for the whole time. And that's quite a thing to say because every
Yeah.
other convention you go to, you're lucky if you make it into the ballroom sometimes. And if you're going to San Diego Comic-Con, forget about going to 90% of the convention
Mhm.
because you're going to be standing in line for most of it. So that's the advantage of this platform, right? You go if you want to go to a panel, you go to the panel. Even with a general admission ticket, you know you're going to have a general admission seat, and that's kind of nice. But it also limits as to how many people can go.
And,
No.
and that's like people complaining about, oh, I couldn't get a ticket to Vegas this year. First of all, if you thought, oh, well, I'm going to wait until it gets closer, well, that was poor planning on your part. It's the 50th anniversary. You should have known.
I don't
Sec-
disagree. And
Second of all, anybody who complains about this 1 year, go ahead and try and get a ticket to San Diego. Go ahead.
Yeah.
All right, we'll wait.
exactly.
Actually, we won't because it ain't going to happen.
No. That's like lightning striking now. Being able to get I remember, and now you can't even get a weekend pass. They don't even sell weekend passes anymore. You have to buy individual days. So stupid. But that's what happens when you get 160,000 people attending a convention at a convention center.
And let's say I went to San Diego Comic-Con because we'll say that they're going to have a Wonder Woman movie panel, and I really want to see it because I'm excited after her appearance in Batman vs Superman. I'm going to have to wait in line for 8 hours and then sit through how many other panels that, yeah, they'll be interesting, but they're not the reason I wanted to be in that room. But I have to be in there that entire time
right.
in order to see that one panel.
And here's the thing, at least with this kind of platform that we have with Star Trek Las Vegas, you can actually go to the bathroom, come back, and there still will be a seat. It's
Mhm.
amazing. So there is an advantage. And yeah, it sucks that not everybody who wants to go will have the opportunity to go. And I'm hoping that they open up the vendor room only tickets. I don't know. It depends on, to be honest with you, it depends on what the fire marshal allows them to do now, right? Because there is a limit as to how many people they can get in and out of those conventions, the convention space at the hotel. I don't know. I think it'll be interesting. It's 5 days this year. It starts on Wednesday as opposed to Thursday, and we'll see you there. We're very excited. We are confirmed, and we're moving on. So
We had our confirmation. It was beautiful. That's something altogether different. I'm sorry.
This is the weekend,
Cardinal
right?
slap you upside the face.
We are still
Thank you, Johnny.
We're still trying to figure out who our guests are going to be. Right? We haven't.
We have not set anything in stone on that, with the exception of one person. We just need to get the approval to have that person there.
Yes.
Our wonderful.
Nice.
Pretty.
We just have to make sure that she is, We don't want to make assumptions this year, because if we've learned one thing about this year's Star Trek convention is that we need to seek approval. We want to make sure that CBS and Paramount are happy with who we have sitting with us and at our booth.
Terry.
Yeah.
Baz says he'll be our guest. Let me just say this about that, if I may.
Oh God, Bazzy, you know that you came back just to be, tortured, right?
Yeah. The only way Baz is our guest is if he leaves his computer open again with his Twitter stream, because that was. Janet, do you know about that?
That was awesome.
No.
Baz tweet, was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
And he was using our computer to update it, and he walked away. And about 15 minutes after he walked away, I looked over and I was like, did he really leave his Twitter account up?
Totally did.
So Baz may have been tweeting some things that Baz wasn't even there to tweet.
Awesome.
Nothing hard. I was very nice when I did it, though. Everybody knew that it was me tweeting it. I even said, oh dear, did Baz leave his Twitter open with Nick around?
Baz's Twitter had a ghostwriter that day.
Baz was complaining that he should be the producer of the TNT show and not Mike.
We're going to move on to book news.
Tell me a Star Trek story. Book news.
If you guys missed it last week, do yourself a favor and listen to last week's episode. We had the amazing James Swallow on for pretty much most of the show. So it was really great to have him back on the show. What was that?
That was a 3-hour epic.
Oh my God, it was crazy. By the way, we have to keep pace this time, so I'm moving things on.
His awesomeness, James Swallow.
It was great to have you back on the show. Mike, you've got a link here from the Trek Collective, our friends over at the Trek Collective, regarding the new cover and preview pages from the Red Shirt's Little Book of Doom. What the hell is this?
It's a children's book, and it's like totally awesome. Let's see. It's these one-off images with with dialogue, but it's every scene is these little adventures with the Red Shirt. I mean, one of them. I mean, he's standing wrapped in a towel. It's like, darn it. And behind him are two piles, whites and reds, and he's holding up a pair of pink underwear. I mean, it's cute. And then there's, let's see, there's the Mogatu. I told you this was a landing party, and he's showing up screaming, happy, and the Mogatu's staring at them as they're transporting it. I mean, this is just cute. It's cute. The three-legged race with the Gorn. The Gorn's dragging him on the ground. I mean, there's the one where he's sitting in the captain's chair and he's like, I'm the captain, and Sulu's going, shh. And behind him, of course, is Kirk. I mean, it's just like
three-legged race with a Tribble. That'd be awesome. You know how fast you could go?
Khan, standing there with Petty apron on, and it says, of course, from Wrath of Khan.
Petty Seti?
What?
That's
Petty Seti?
It's a petting zoo type thing.
Oh, Petty. Okay.
Petty, and the giant worm thing from Wrath of Khan, and the red shirt's reaching in to pet it.
It's the Seti eel. He's reaching in to pet the Seti eel, and Khan is like, "This adorable fellow is in need of a forever home." So, and of course.
It's by the same gentleman who had written the other children's book from not very long ago. I can't remember. Fun with Kirk and Spock.
Written by Rose Perlman and illustrated by Anna Marie Jung.
So it's
a transformative work.
It's fun. So
get it and for completely licensed, people. So cute. And what else do we have? We have some news on the Star Trek Encyclopedia. Awesome! I'm so excited about this. I think it's going to be a great addition. They've already announced.
So Matthew Anderson had Dayton in the oven. Interesting.
What?
He said he
The
had to help
conservatory?
get the ham in the oven, out of the oven.
Oh, dude.
Thank you. I'll be here all week. Try the veal. Try the Seti Alpha eels.
The
Ooh.
fully authorized revision of the popular reference companion, the Star Trek Encyclopedia, is available for pre-order.
So this is a licensed
Are you kidding?
publication?
Of course it is. Yes.
Well, we can't say that we can't say that anymore,
Michael and
Terry.
Denise Okuda have gone through the painstaking effort of updating the Star Trek Encyclopedia. Again, it is a 2-volume hardcover set with a beautiful slipcase that they both fit into.
This is a serious question I have. Very serious. It just came out all updated and everything, but next year they're going to have to do it again.
No, they're not. They're not going to be doing this again.
They're going to be adding volumes.
They're going to be
it.
adding volumes.
Okay.
So
that's-
this is the final form of it, and they're going to be expanding on it through additional content,
so
through
far as we know.
add-ons.
Yeah.
At least that's the plan.
At least that's what we hope. And again, it is available for pre-order. Let me see it out here.
Since the last update,
Yep.
more than 15 years have passed. So they've added like 300 more pages
that's
of
a lot of
information,
stuff.
photographs, illustrations, over 300 pages of the stuff. So now it's the complete Voyager season 4 through 7, Star Trek Enterprise 1 through 4, Star Trek Nemesis, and then information telling the recent big screen films 2009 and Into Darkness.
The pre-order price at Amazon right now is still $120.48. However, as has been known in the past, that the more pre-orders that the book tends to get, the price actually may drop. So it's due to get released on Tuesday, October 18th.
It'll make a great
Very cool.
birthday present for me. Just saying.
And Christmas is right around the corner
Mm-hmm.
from that. So
Let's move on to some product news.
I need more Star Trek stuff. Product news.
Oh man, I've got product.
In your hair and
Ooh.
everything?
I don't have hair. Thanks. Making fun of the bald guy. Nice. Janet, I would like you to be my legal representation in this defamation lawsuit.
It's only definition. Yeah, never mind.
Nice try.
the product
truth is
he's
an
using
absolute
isn't
defense.
on his head.
Exactly.
Good job, Mel Brooks. And that's why you're Snape.
And that's why you're Snape. That's not true. He's not Snape, but he sure ain't Gilderoy Lockhart.
What?
Gilder
we were making
Radner?
fun of Lockhart
Huh?
last
What?
night.
Huh? What?
Nick is reading Harry Potter,
I
and
was
so
doing
he was
Gilderoy.
reading, and he watched the second episode with Kenneth Branagh.
Who I mistook for Ewan McGregor.
That was pretty funny.
Same thing.
I know, right?
Well, getting back to the Star Trek products, we have a wonderful link for you guys over at the roddenberry.com shop. They have released a series of logoed items for the 50th anniversary of Star Trek. They're kind of one of the things that we really liked. One of the things I really wanted to get is this beautiful little lapel pin with got the 50
I
and the
know.
Starfleet Delta, and it's already sold out.
I wanted one as well, but I won't have money until like next week or something, and it's like
Well,
darn
get
it.
out of luck now. Hopefully they'll make more. But you can get the hat, the t-shirt, and the tote bag, which are still available.
Yep.
The most expensive thing there is the t-shirt at $24.95. Not a whole lot.
That's
on the
not bad
product
at
news
all.
This week, but cool. Let's move on to the movie news for Star Trek Beyond.
Let's watch a Star Trek movie. Movie news.
Justin Lin, the director of Star Trek Beyond, has been quoted as saying he's currently, or was at the time, currently spending 16 hours a day editing Star Trek Beyond. Yeah,
Only 16? He's not working hard enough.
he's not freaking.
I was going to say he's a hardworking man. Damn.
But
I
is
don't
he making $38,000 a year?
know.
Probably not.
He's
I
been
mean-
editing that day's sequences every night to make sure he's got what he needed. He would stay up all night editing because if you don't get any needed stuff the next day with a cast like that, that's so big and has so many missing parts, you miss it. That was a quote from, oh shit, I don't know who said that.
So he's filming all day and then editing all night.
Well,
So-
they're all done with They're all done with filming now.
Yeah. So this,
Well,
yeah,
are
this-
they though? Because they had to bring in
Yeah,
what's
no,
her name?
They did
some
additional shoots,
reshoots?
but that only lasted a few days. So it
Okay.
wasn't like they needed a whole lot of stuff. They just
Right.
needed little pieces to drop in. And Zoe Saldana had tweeted pictures that week of her uniform, right? She tweeted some interesting little kind of shots of the uniform she was wearing, which, by the way, I love. But so yeah, that's not surprising that he's kind of crazy in post-production right now because this movie is due to come out in less than 3 months. So they got to get shit done.
Yeah, and we're on an accelerated schedule in order to make their deadline, right?
Pretty much. Although they did push it back, so I'm glad that they did.
Yeah.
Go
Netflix.
for it.
All right.
Netflix and chill. Well, Netflix.
Did Mike just pull a Netflix and chill out?
He did.
Wow.
Netflix is they're shaking things up again. I mean, they did it with television when they started producing their own content, and now they're getting ready to start producing. I guess, does this qualify as a big budget blockbuster? I mean, for them, sure it is, but I mean, $90 million fantasy thriller is they're getting ready to produce for David Ayer. Does that qualify as a blockbuster?
Or are you talking
for a movie, for a Hollywood movie?
for a Hollywood movie? I would say it's probably about a half of a budget. Most of these movies are getting made for anywhere between $150 and $200 million now.
Interesting. Well, Netflix is going to do it for half the cost.
Yay!
Well, they're really shaking things up, and now they're taking on the movie industry. They're going to produce a film called Bright, starring Joel Edgerton and Will Smith, and let's see. David had said Netflix is this disruptive company that is at the forefront of how the business is evolving. Sitting in the cockpit as director and looking over the horizon, you see changes happening daily. That includes screening room. Netflix is deeply biting into cable viewership and is clearly the future of entertainment industry, which is on-demand and portable devices. To bring a flagship project into that world and have the opportunity to be the tip of the spear, I felt like we were giving a hunting license to be truly creative and do what I love. He's going to be producing something without all of the studio hoops that he has to jump through.
Yes, exactly. And now you understand why, years ago is when we started this, we had all discussed how entertainment industry was on the edge of something really amazing, how it was all going to change. And streaming services, here's the thing though. I don't think that this is as big a threat to the film industry as some people might. For all intent and purposes, you're still going to be watching a movie that is meant for a smaller screen, namely your 70, 80-inch television or your 3.5-inch phone. It's still going to be a high-end, what we would consider TV movie. I still think that there's a unique enough experience in going to the movies and going to sit and watch a film that is stretched out across the side of a building, than it is for me to go, oh yeah, I'll just wait for it to come and I'll watch it on TV. So I see this as a high-end television movie. I don't see it as taking on the film industry very much at all, because I would see it as a different physical experience. What about you, Nick, and everybody else?
I think long as our society equates going to the movies with dating and with it being a safe, comfortable kind of a date, not too sexy, not, there's people around and stuff like that, then we're going to continue to see people going out to the movies. Once that goes away, I think that then theaters are going to start to close.
Someone in the chat room says theaters are going to be a dead zone in 10 years. They said the same thing when TV came along, and just...
I don't...
Well,
go ahead.
I was just gonna point out that there have been quite a few services that have tried to come out and are coming out with their own way to view movies that are newly released, the same day opening as in theaters, but from the privacy of your home. I saw one that you can basically rent the movie for $50, see it the day of its opening, and but it also, you have to have special equipment and blah blah blah. But
right.
But
here's the thing, though. I think that a majority of fans and a majority of moviegoers just don't have that kind of money. We're still dealing with a society right now that waits for the movie to get into the $2 cinema.
And arguing that drive-in theaters don't exist anymore, saying theaters will go away, it's not. Drive-ins also went away because they stopped making the B and C level movies to show in the drive-ins as part of the package.
Also, here's the other thing too. You're gonna laugh. In Southern California, the drive-ins were all over the place. They were, it was just part of life. But things changed, and things changed was, one, cars got smaller. That has
true.
A lot to do with it. And two, land became a bigger thing. Drive-in movie areas are not small, and they take up a lot of land,
stadium size,
that businesses,
it's expensive stuff.
It's stuff. It was a lot more. They lost not because they weren't popular anymore, but it was a mix of who wants to go to a movie in an economy car. No offense to our wonderful little Nissan Sentra, but it just wasn't comfortable. When you had a big old Land Cruiser and you could fit like 6 kids in the back, and
or a station wagon,
or a station wagon that had like the bench seats, and they were far more comfortable to watch a movie in than it was to sit in a little bucket seat, 4-cylinder car. And also, but also the fact that the people who owned these places sold because they made so much stinking money off of the land. So now there's malls where a drive-in used to be, huge malls. I don't think that there's any drive-in in Southern California that I used to go to that isn't some kind of a shopping center now.
We have one 20 minutes north of me.
A drive-in?
Yep.
Yeah, and I've got one up the road in just outside of it's just above. It's between between Carlisle and Harrisburg.
Well, the thing, just to sort of tangent a little bit, books, because I had worked for Hachette, and that's when the Kindle, when it was really first coming out. And I remember asking somebody in the know, do you think this is going to mean the end of the book? And she said to me, at least for a while, it won't. And it's because books are cheap. They are a good gift. If you leave them at the shore, or at the swimming pool, or they get wet there, nobody cares. Particularly if it's like a throwaway, and also people like them in their homes.
Yeah.
But once that starts to go away, once the price of the electronics goes down, once it feels more disposable, and once people stop looking at books as being in part a decorating choice, then you're going to see, you'll still see some books, particularly decorating choice type books, or books that seem to be more scholarly, because it's not just a decorating choice in terms of color and shape and size. It's also a matter of, oh, look, you've got the collected works of Shakespeare. You must be a smart person. There's a cachet to it. But once that starts, so those will still stick around. But you're going to see a lot less of the Stephanie Meyers, the Nora Roberts, the E.L. James books. God love them. They're all big time bestsellers, but I think you're going to see fewer and fewer of those, and people will instead secretly be reading them on their Kindle Nook devices and on their phones.
Well, the Nook is being discontinued.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. The Nook's going away.
And oddly enough, books seem to be making a big comeback.
And it's no cheaper, really, to get on my Kindle than it is to get a physical book, which is
And now-
mind-boggling to me.
And now Amazon has brick and mortar stores.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
it's all over the
mind-boggling
place.
to me that a new book by an author is still, $10.99 on the Kindle.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, and my book is still like $10 on the Kindle, and it's like, and I'm a first time author. I like, why aren't you cutting the price of this? But hey, whatever. I'm not in their marketing department. They've got data that I can't see, but. Yeah, there's very much that books are an inexpensive gift. That physical books are still they're an inexpensive gift. It's an easy thing to shop for. Even if you don't really know somebody, you could probably buy them a book of some sort if you have any idea at all. I mean, at the very least, you could buy somebody some like a coffee table type touristy book about their area, and most people would say, "Thank you, that's lovely," and they wouldn't be, Whereas if you bought them something that was maybe like a hot romance, maybe they'd be offended by it. But if you bought somebody something like that, that would be a really easy gift. It would look beautiful. Everybody would be happy, and they'd probably even display it, and you wouldn't even know anything more about them than you did when you went and bought it.
Yeah, interesting.
D'Onofrio is still arguing, saying that theaters are an endangered species. I don't agree with that at all.
Not yet. No, I don't see it happening anytime soon. I think that maybe you're going to laugh, but I think that maybe what we'll see is kind of a pull away from maybe the big multiplex and going back to the way things were in the 70s, where you're going to start seeing specialty theaters again, right? One big theaters with one, maybe two screens of 70 mil.
I agree with you on that, Terry, because I think
Yeah.
what's going to happen is, we'll think about it a lot of times when a movie comes out. There's movies you go, yeah, I can wait until that comes on TV or whatever, and there's other ones, oh, I got to see that one in the theater. There's still always going to be that feeling that there's certain movies that you want to have that experience in the big screen, but you're not going to go to a multiplex for that. You're going to go to a real destination theater to have that experience. So maybe you're going to see less multiplexes and more of those destination theaters.
And
Where they're all like IMAX and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
well, there's also that theater that's being renovated in Chicago. For example, what they're trying to do is they're looking way ahead into the future. They're looking at holographic shows from artists that some of them are no longer with us, that are being that their goal is to reproduce and allow people to get that unique experience of seeing these people perform again. So they may shift, they may change, they may evolve, but I don't think the art form is going away.
A perfect example is going to be like Matthew Anderson said, because theaters are going to go art house. I think a perfect example of that's going to be something along the lines of Alamo Drafthouse, right? Alamo's,
Yeah, right.
they used to have only like two locations. One location, then they opened up another one. I think it was in Kansas City, and now they're opening up multiple Alamo Drafthouses around the U.S., and it's become a destination. They have created a brand with an experience that people really like. And it's like, oh, I'd rather stand in line to go see something at Alamo Drafthouse than I would to go see it at a regular multiplex, because they're just so banal. I think that that's what theaters are going to start doing. I thoroughly agree. I think what we're going to see is specialty theaters again. I'm kind of happy for that, because that's the way movies should be seen. Really, at the end of the day, I go into a movie, a Cineplex, and it's a typical 30-foot screen or something like that, right? They're not that big. I get a better experience sitting in front of my 70-inch TV at home, because I'm more comfortable. I get to eat what I want, and and the picture is
Your
beautiful.
feet don't stick to the floor.
The feet does, yeah. There's no. Now, there's something to be said about going to see a really funny movie or a really awesome, movie with a crowd.
Exactly.
But here's the thing: I don't think the Cineplex experience, the little rooms, are what I like. I like a big theater with quite literally 1,000 people in it. When I saw Star Wars, it was a 70 millimeter screen, and THX has just come out with Indiana Jones, right? It's that grand experience with 1,000 other people, and you all get to share that experience as a group. That 100 people or so, or 200 people just doesn't cut it. But 1,000 people, 1,500 people in a big room that's freaking amazing. So I see it kind of going back in that direction. We need to move on. Gaming news. No? Yeah, let's just talk about gaming news real quick.
I want to play a Star Trek game. Gaming news.
An announcement has been made by Cryptic Studios. Season 11.5 has been announced as coming out on April 12th. So we're very excited about that. We get to see the new trait system put into place. And also, have you guys seen this video? Get to see the video, the teaser video, Mike?
If I did, it would have been a while back, but I don't think so.
You didn't watch the teaser film for 11.5?
I doubt it.
I would highly recommend that you do so, because there's a little thing at the very end. There's a kicker.
Look at my face. I'm stunned right now at Mike.
I am too. There's a kicker.
It's been a busy week.
All right, because
he's been tending to the unicorns and.
There is a special event of some kind that occurs on May 5th.
Oh God.
At the very end of this film, it shows the image of the original series Enterprise, and it warps out, and it just says something along May, 5/5. So they dropped the teaser for something that's coming in May. May 5th, is that Federation Day? Is that the Federation Day thing? I'm trying to figure out what it
When
might
is
be.
First Contact Day?
That's what I'm saying. Is that First Contact Day? No, that was April. So it's not First Contact Day.
I just watched the video.
And?
It's interesting.
It is interesting, huh?
Yeah.
What are people in the chat room saying? Sunsail said, she just said there's a special event happening on the 5th. So yeah, but something else is interesting. We're not sure what's going on with Star Trek Online and what may be coming in May, but I think it's pretty fun. Nice little teaser for those of us who play the game. But season 11.5 will be released on April 12th. And again, the new trait system, the new secondary specialization, which is called Strategist, will be released. And hopefully a new featured episode. It'll be awesome. Always some interesting
Looking forward
things.
to it.
I've been crafting like mad this week. And Mikey,
Yes.
Star Trek Timelines YouTube channel. Thank you. Yeah, Mike and I went around this week because he was like, I was watching the Disruptor Beam.
Their Twitch.
Their Twitch, which I couldn't watch when I was at work.
Yeah, because they show like previews of things that are coming up and questions and answers and stuff, and whenever new content comes out, you usually get a preview. Oh, speaking of which, this week update 1.0.6 came out, so check it out. It's got fun stuff in it. But this week on the Disruptor stream, they showed off the events, that the holodeck event that's coming up, among other things, and it's about the holodeck. So they're going to have Captain Proton and Arachnia, but they also revealed Sherlock Data, Watson LaForge.
Oh, cool.
And Secret Agent Bashir. There might be others, but those are the ones that they were showing off during their gameplay, which I thought was totally awesome. I definitely want them now. Let's see, but I had also sent them some private messages about a few things that Terry and I had discussed. Hopefully trying to make some of this information more accessible because people have to go digging for it sometimes. So that's why I decided to link the YouTube channel. So there it is. You can watch some of the past Disruptor streams and get caught up on some of the recent stuff. The one that was recorded Friday is not up as of this morning, but it should be up probably tomorrow by the time this goes live.
Thank you. Yeah, the one thing, Janet, what I was going to say was when I told you needed to be the new I'm still going to pitch it. I think Janet needs to be Disruptor Beam's SEO. I'm just telling you. Because the one thing that annoyed me to no end is here's Mike telling me, oh, they're saying this and they're saying this. I'm like, where are they saying it?
Yeah, they even gave us a
so
nice shout out.
I went to Star Trek Timeline's website and there were 0 links for any of their secondary. Zero links.
They had links to Twitch, they had links to YouTube, but if you didn't know what was that there was stuff there, you wouldn't think to
no like current news link for
I even went to their Twitter to see maybe they tweeted about it and there was 0.
From what I understand, from what I understand, they focus so much on the social media side. They didn't
even do that. I'm being a bitch now.
They don't. What I've noticed is they don't use their social media and to drive people to their website because they don't put anything on their website except the captain's blogs. Basically how-to manuals on how to play the game. That's all fine and good, but you have these weekly podcasts that these live streams.
I didn't even know they existed.
Exactly. They need to use social media to drive people to their website, and then use their website also to drive people to their social media. It's supposed to work both ways, right, Janet?
Yes, indeed. It is a cycle.
Well, apparently it's only one way, and no one can figure out the directions.
I'm available. Hi, Emmy.
I highly recommend her. She has done amazing things for this show. I am just telling you that.
She sent us numbers
and we only pay her in bagels and cream cheese. So.
I know, no shit, right? We don't.
And I want that fancy
too cheap.
cream
We don't
cheese,
even give her the locks.
No, that's gross.
Yeah, she gave us an update this morning on some numbers, and I am truly impressed with what she has done for us.
Janet, did you get the kasha I sent?
It was a little difficult through the fax machine. I'm going to have to clean that thing.
Sorry. I PDF'd her some kasha.
There's some general news and television news, which I'm going to kind of batch together.
Batch.
I'm going to batch it.
By the way, Terry, just batch reminded me. There's a character on Walking Dead, Abraham, and he's got Abrahamisms.
Oh, yeah.
So this is a quote from him asking somebody about his wife getting pregnant. So when y'all were mixing the Bisquick, were you planning on making pancakes? So awesome. I knew you'd enjoy that.
Oh, shit.
He's a character. I mean, they got some wonderful characters in there, but he's just a character.
When y'all were mixing the Bisquick.
That's cute.
Ooh.
Grab the remote. Star Trek's on. Television news.
The link that
I know, right?
Sorry
Now I
just
want pancakes.
Just
the link that
stay away from the
Sorry,
waffle.
just put into the chat room is an article out of TrekNews.com where Rod Roddenberry was interviewed about the new television show. And as you can imagine, he knows or is saying diddly. He's not saying nothing about the new show. There is some consternation from some people that maybe he doesn't know as much as an executive producer would normally know. So there are some people now who are beginning to question whether or not he is as actively involved in the show as we had hoped, and that it might just be kind of a what do we call it, like a title given him as opposed to anything he's doing very actively. I don't know. It's still only March.
PR is very important, even if that's his department.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
I think that's probably one of his greatest strengths. I mean, granted, I don't know him very well, but I think that's one of his greatest strengths, and that is definitely something you need on any production.
Sensei, I'll just put like.
I know. I'm trying not to watch it.
She makes me laugh. It's like, yeah, pretty much what we know about the new show is a guy farting baby powder. Yeah, that's nice. Thanks so very much. And it's true. We don't know very much, and he doesn't know very much. But at the same time, he has high hopes. Of course, we all do, huh?
And D'Onofrio really thinks that's going to kill theater-going experience.
Oh my God.
Oh, shit.
Just saying.
And in general news,
What's new in the Star Trek universe? General news.
this is actually very, very cool. The 50th anniversary, one of the things we knew was coming and was going to be released at the San Diego Comic-Con, I believe, is where it's going to be, is down at the Michael J. Wolfe Fine Arts Gallery in San Diego's historic Gaslight District, is going to be the 50th anniversary art exhibition.
The designers were going to the Gaslight.
You've never been to the Gaslight, have you?
I've never been to San Francisco.
No, San Diego.
Same thing.
No, not the same thing.
It's all left coast.
Yes, it is.
It's all
that it is,
pipes. Little George Costanza quote there.
But it's very cool. They're releasing.
I thought you said San Francisco.
No, San Diego.
I really
at San
did think
Diego
you said
Comic Con, or during San Diego Comic Con, at an art gallery in the Gaslight District, which is this wonderful. It used to be this beat up old, the old district of San Diego. And like other cities, they took out like all of the bullshit, all of the crap, and it turned into this amazing social area with restaurants and stores and art galleries, and it's extraordinary, and it's all within walking distance of the convention center. There's hotels, there's the baseball park is right there. It's all central, and it's where you go to dinner now. It's where you go to socialize in San Diego. It's beautiful. And the Star Trek art exhibition's going to be there. They're releasing pieces kind of on the internet day by day. They're not really. Have all the pieces been revealed yet, Mike?
No, I just put a link in StarTrek.com/art exhibition that actually shows the various pieces that have been released, and you can see that there are many, many more that have not. Also, it should be noted that this is a world tour. They are planning on taking these exhibits on the road and showing them off all over the place. So I'm sure more dates will be announced. So keep an eye out for those.
Cool. All right. Unofficial productions.
I made something Star Trek. Unofficial productions.
Oh, are those still allowed? Are they still going?
Yeah.
Oh no! Who did we lose?
What happened?
We lost Kajiro. We lost Kajiro. No.
See, Snape ran. He ran.
Hopefully,
Now,
you'll be back soon.
Janet.
Yes.
Speaking of unconventional, unofficial productions, unconventional productions, a lot of just normal procedural stuff has been going on, correct? Because people are like, this has been filed.
Yeah, there really isn't a lot going on right now. The main thing I'm waiting on is that the amended complaint, the deadline to answer it is on the 31st of March.
Okay, so Thursday.
And I just looked at Pacer, as in I just opened it up. And there's nothing, which is understandable. We'll probably get it on the 31st would be my guess. And because it's West Coast, it's of course West Coast time. And they also have to enter this stuff into the computer.
Yep.
So that can take a few hours. So just sit tight. We will get it to you when we see it. It will either be an answer, or there could potentially be another motion to dismiss, not unheard of, or potentially maybe the case will settle by then. That could happen too, folks.
Yeah, it could.
It's not outside the realm of possibility.
And I could also run for president.
Yeah,
Monkeys
you can.
might fly out of somewhere.
understand. So that's kind of what's going on with the Axonor side.
Have any of us been threatened with a lawsuit this week?
I
Not
blocked them,
lately.
so I don't know.
I would like to talk. I'll try to make this brief about the because I didn't get a chance to last weekend because I was getting fed pie. Lots of it. Oh my God, you look hungry. Have another piece. About the group that's talking about taking over the leasehold.
Oh yeah.
Okay, this is an interesting kind of situation. Now, let's just sort of back up a little bit. The studio or warehouse or whatever you want to call it, it's a building in Valencia, California, where PropWorks has offices, where Mr. Burnett has offices, where Mr. Peters has offices, where there's apparently a green screen, or maybe it's being constructed, a little unclear there, where the electrical is not necessarily up to snuff, although maybe it is now, again, not very clear. Recently, a couple of weeks ago, and I'm sorry if I don't have the dates 100% correct, and it's because I was sort of out of the loop last weekend. As there was, this constant stream of calories. And entertaining the octogenarians, God love them. But be that as it may, a group is supposedly stepping forward. This group is secret. Their identities have been kept secret, that are supposed to be taking over the leasehold for the Valencia property, because one of the things that people were concerned about was that some of the money that had been crowdfunded was being used for that a couple of years of lease money had been put down. Now, without a name for these people, I'm going to refer to them as the consortium. That's not necessarily what they are calling themselves, but
Call them the Cardassian Union.
Without any other name for them, I'm going to call them the consortium. Now understand that in the laws of consortium is actually the no sex clause in tort law.
Right.
Now, Janet, is this not correct that you don't know your ass from a hole in the ground, or your ass from your elbow?
I'm familiar with both.
Okay.
And can distinguish.
I don't know. It's been said that you don't know anything you're talking about.
Well, I can state.
But you can still legally call yourself a lawyer.
I'm retired. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I would need to get back up to speed on continuing legal education. That would take me a while, but yes, I'm a lawyer. I'm in good standing in the bar of the great state of New York, and can go back to practice with, like I said, continuing legal education and also mandatory pro bono work up to speed. But yes, I could go back to it.
Interesting.
Anyway, to continue with my friends in the consortium.
Was that passive aggressive?
So the consortium. So if you're going to take up a leasehold, and this was going to be a 6-figure sum that was going to be paid for this, by the way. If you're going to do this, there's really, as far as I'm aware, there's only 3 ways this can go. One is you take on this leasehold, and things don't really change much for Axonor. But the truth is they do change, even if the amount of rent stays the same, and even if the length of the leasehold stays the same, there's still a benefit that devolves to Axonor, because now their funds would become liquid. And
meaning that they're going to get $250,000. That they're going to have, which ostensibly is going to be paid on the production, but they had said long before the lawsuit dropped, they said that they didn't have enough money to complete the production. So understand that that's just funds right now, and whether they're allowed to make the movie in any way, shape, or form later, they're still going to need more capital. That's their own admission. They said that they needed more capital. So $250,000, very helpful.
But yes, they do get a benefit, which is liquidity. So that's one way it can go. Another way it can go is that the leasehold is altered somehow. And there's really only two ways you can alter a leasehold, really. One is either increasing or decreasing the amount of time on it. I'm going to operate on the assumption that Mr. Peters is a shrewd enough businessman that he would not reduce the amount of time on the leasehold. So we'd be talking about an extension. Another piece of it is whether the rent would go up or go down. And again, I'm assuming Mr. Peters is a shrewd enough businessman that he would not agree to something where the rent would go up. So perhaps the rent could go down. And you know, there's actually a third little bit of this, which is that the capital improvements that have been made, which is stuff like putting in carpeting, putting in lighting grid, putting in a green screen, all that other stuff, where that stuff devolves to, because you see, a lot of that is actually fixtures. When it gets bolted into the wall, it starts to be a question as to whether it's a fixture.
But that's in addition to the amount of rent that he's talking about.
That's right.
Okay.
So you know, there's
Wait a minute,
stuff
if you're
that they,
renting a place, can you make changes like
Yes.
that?
Yes.
it
You can
depends on
build
what
a
your
suit.
lease says.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
But
No, I honestly didn't know.
yeah, well, usually when you rent a place, you can't, or if you do, they devolve to the landlord. So that's a question as to what is in their lease.
Because that's what I was thinking is if I rent a place, if I rent an apartment and it's got carpet and I want to put in hardwood floors, that's generally
Yeah, but you know,
not
when
gonna
it comes
fly.
to business office space like this,
Well,
they're
that's true,
usually
yeah,
kind
it's
of
different,
empty,
yeah.
and the corporation is the one that has to build it out for itself.
yeah,
They take on the liabilities in order to do that. And
right.
then I went through this with the company I used to work with in downtown LA. Trust me, it's four floors of building out where my cube was going to go.
Oh my
It's
God.
where it was just
That's a
what?
nightmare.
Where am I now? But those are improvements. Those are capital improvements that are made to like she said, anything that was screwed in or bolted to the hardwire, kind of the framing of it. But all of that is still an asset to the
So
corporation
who would
that
be
placed
able to
it in there.
claim that? Would it be the landlord or the person
No, it's
renting it?
usually the person renting it
Yeah,
is the one
usually
that
it's the
takes
renter.
on the liability for it, right?
No, but
But it
claiming
depends. It
for,
depends on
for
what it says.
taxes and stuff.
If you've created a benefit, then
Yeah.
this is income
That's-
devolving to
exactly.
you. It's capital improvement. But you know, to get back to the leasehold, so let's assume so maybe under 2A or 2B, let's say, either the amount of time to pay has been increased, or the amount to pay has been decreased, and maybe both. Again, both times these are benefits to Axanar. Third possibility is consortium says, screw you, Axanar, and kicks him out. Or Axanar leaves. Now, keep in mind, there's a prop company as well. And they have stuff. That stuff has to go somewhere. I assume it's too much to be stuffed into an apartment. Plus, you have to showcase it. Otherwise people aren't going to be interested in buying it. Now, and I'm not saying that people come downtown or to Valencia and say, I want to buy a tunic, but you still have to have a place to put it. It has to be temperature controlled and, whatnot, because you're curating this stuff. You don't want it to...
If it's being done correctly.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. You don't want it to just, this stuff is, a lot of it's 50 years old or 40 years old, and you don't want it to just sort of, rot in some warehouse where the humidity is not, and the temperature aren't
Compatible,
controlled
right.
properly. So in that case, maybe it's a benefit for Axanar, maybe it's a benefit for the consortium, because the consortium, but it's also kind of a loss for the consortium because they would still have to find somebody to fill this leasehold. So now what have we been saying? In all three scenarios, although in the third there's sort of a question, the consortium loses. Why would you spend $250,000 on something that most of the time is a loser proposition for you?
Unless they have unless they have a client, yeah. Unless they have somebody waiting in the wings to use it for an independent film, which was
Right.
always the goal down the line, was it not?
Yeah, that's one possibility. Another one is that they're getting an ownership interest in this stuff. And so now we suddenly have, and they have actually talked about them as being investors, so that this is converting again. that this money is that the donors have put in has actually attracted investors, which is kind of weird too when you think about it. Again, we've been talking about them as being more like a startup.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what seems to be happening here. But even if none of that's happening, let's say it's utterly, we're putting this money out. We're putting this money out. Who puts money out for a transaction where the bargain is bad? Who does that? And the answer is, it ain't no transaction, kids. It's a gift. Who gives gifts of that size? Family? Close friends? People who are going to get something for it? Or people who are enabling? It's sort of, there aren't a lot of choices here. Most shrewd business people are not going to hand over that kind of cabbage for something where it's going to be pretty much, in almost every scenario, a loser. Now, let's back up for a moment. Who's the person I haven't been talking about?
Mike.
Any guesses? Yeah, Mike. The owner.
Right.
Who's the landlord? I don't care who they are. By the way, that's a matter of public record. Even if you want to keep the consortium private, fine. But the people or person who own this real property, this is public records in the state of California, okay? Because the state of California has an interest in knowing who owns each square inch of California. That's not doxing. This is public record, kids. But the landlord has an obligation and a right to say no. If the landlord looks at this and says, this is a crappy deal, the landlord, or I don't get anything out of this, the landlord's going to say no. And very often, landlords do say no to subleases, which is what this looks like. Because the landlord wants either a nice hefty down payment, or they want you to have really good credit. Otherwise, why would they bother? So if this consortium is at all international, then unless they're ponying up a significant amount of money, and this is beyond what they're giving to Axanar, so this would be on top of the $250K. Unless they're either putting down some serious money, or they better all be not only in the United States, but probably all in California, the landlord's probably going to say, forget it. You had a nice idea, but we're not going to bother. And if the landlord says, hey, it's wonderful, you're in Dubai or you're in Australia, or you're not going to give me any extra cash going down, and I have no idea what your credit rating is. If the landlord says yes to all of that, then hey, you know something? He kind of doesn't even deserve to own the place. Because that's such a bad bargain.
I have a general question, and it's a question that we probably wouldn't be able to answer. But one of the things that kind of was of an interest to me is the fact that they're using the word liability as opposed to anything else. That somehow there is an outstanding debt for $250,000 for the future rent, meaning to me that it hasn't been money that's been paid out yet. It's what they owe.
Yeah, it's very murky.
Layman question. An outstanding debt of the rent, shouldn't that already be factored into their spending?
Well,
if you know your rent is going to be so much a month?
Well, here's the thing, is that the only information any of us have ever seen came out after the Kickstarter and how they spent Kickstarter money. There's been no revelation about how anything has been spent ever since, including the additional $500,000 they got from Indiegogo. Zero. There's been no accountability, and nobody knows exactly how that money's been spent. And they've been very close and holding it close to the vest ever since. But what triggered my curiosity was this idea that these investors were going to be brought in to purchase the liability, as how it was phrased. And to me, when somebody has a liability, that means it's an outstanding debt. It means that they haven't paid it yet.
So yeah, again, this is very
that somebody's buying the debt.
It feels very paradoxical. It feels very contradictory, and the donors keep going farther and farther away. Their money keeps moving farther and farther away from the creation of a film. Yeah. So, no matter what, hate me? Fine. Think I don't know my ass from my elbow? Awesome. Go for it. You go, girl.
It keeps sounding like they keep moving money and moving money and moving money, and that smacks of laundering.
Well,
yes.
it,
But
it
you know, I
smacks
don't.
of it.
Maybe you know, it may not. Maybe this is 100% beautifully, perfectly up on the up and up. It's gorgeous and awesome, but it still feels like commingling, and it still is moving money, and it's still moving donor money farther and farther away from donor objectives. Good morning, donors. I know you're listening, so how you doing? If you're listening to this, if you're thinking about this, and it's getting confusing. Yeah, it should be confusing, and I'm not the one who's trying to confuse you.
And
So
we had a very interesting talk with the people from Star Trek Continues about what they had to go through with their books and the IRS to gain 501c3. So everything has to be truly transparent.
Yeah, if you want to be approved by the IRS to become a charitable organization, you have to open the books for your organization.
Now, a question I have for about the donors. How long can one wait if they say, hey, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, however long, I donated through this Kickstarter. It was never completed. And according to Section 4, they didn't fulfill what they said they were going to do. Is there a time limit on that?
Depends on your jurisdiction.
Well, I'll tell you this much. I just looked it up. In the great state of California, the Golden State,
The Golden State.
The golden.
the statute of limitations for fraud, the other F word, is 3 years. If you think you're being ripped off, and maybe you are, or maybe you aren't. Hey, you know, if you look at that and you say, you know, hey, I put $25 in, I put $10 in whatever, $15. It was a gamble, I lost, or it was a gamble and maybe I'll win later, or I don't care, it was mad money, so what? It was donuts, I wouldn't, you know, it's not that are on my waistline. Awesome.
That's
You want to drop
completely
it?
up to you. That's right.
This is your decision, and you don't want to bother pursuing it. Go for it. No problem. I respect that. That I know that this is a hassle. I'm well aware that this is inconvenient. It's a problem. It's difficult. I'm well aware of that. I know how much time this stuff takes. Believe me. But if you are interested, if you think this is too much, if you feel that this is something that is meaningful to you, if it's important to you, you might want to start getting your ducks lined up and getting on the stick, because there is a clock. It does tick. CBS and Paramount can bring an IP suit anytime they want to because they own this IP and they continue to own this IP. But if you want to...
No, it belongs to the fans, Janet. Star Trek belongs to the fans. It doesn't really belong to CBS or Paramount.
I did have
somebody
to laugh.
posted this week that they haven't done anything with it in the last 15 years.
Yeah, what
and
the
I'm thinking,
hell?
well, Nemesis wasn't in the last 15 years. Oh, yeah, it
Enterprise.
was. Enterprise. All of the books that, I don't know, made people like Dayton and all of them New York Times best-selling authors.
Thank you.
Wait a minute. Weren't there 2 movies that the people that are for this project claim they despise so much? But what were in the titles of both of those? And matter of fact, 2009, it was just 2 words in the title. What were those 2 words? Were they
Due diligence.
No.
Those were the two
No,
words.
that wasn't it. Was it
Star Trek. It was Star Trek.
That's
Yeah,
right.
it's Star Trek, yeah.
But nothing's happened in the last 15 years. I don't understand.
You know, what I
It's
really
only
loved,
been kept alive because of fan production.
Yeah, that what I really loved was hearing Star Trek wouldn't exist without the fans. You know something? You're right. You're absolutely right. 100% gold star, A+. You're absolutely fucking right. I'll give you a sticker for that one. I'll mail it to you. But yes, like every other commercial enterprise, there's a pun there, in the universe. Yes, the purchasers, the consumers, the clients, they are the ones, they are why CBS, Paramount, et cetera, Star Trek are in business. That's how capitalism works, ladies and gentlemen. But it does not create an ownership interest. I'm sorry?
The truth is, too, and somehow they fail to realize this, or they're just so dense. CBS, Paramount don't have to answer to Star Trek fans for a damn thing.
That's right.
There's only one group of people they have to answer to.
Shareholders.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a shareholder? If you are, then yeah. But if you're not, and you don't automatically turn into a shareholder if you turn on your television, or you buy a plane ticket, or you buy a movie ticket, or you go to the convention, or you buy a book.
You're not a shareholder.
Those do not turn you into a shareholder. They don't. You want to buy shares? You buy them on the stock exchange.
But
with a broker.
Here you do. Take all your money and become the principal shareholder of CBS, and then you can tell them how to do Star Trek.
Awesome. Exactly. Yeah,
and if your version tanks and fails, be ready to hear not just from shareholders, but also from people like you. And it'd be directed at you, just saying.
That's one of the things that happens when you own an IP, is that you are subject, and when you are the one who puts out the content and the product, is that you are subject to reviews and criticism, and you have to sit and take it with a smile. Because
you mean it's not acceptable to lash out and threaten people and call them names? That's not acceptable business practice?
It's also not acceptable to ban people who have dissenting opinions, because that's just life in the big city. You know something? I wrote a book. I'm an author. Am I a bestseller? God, no. I haven't sold a lot of books. I don't have uniformly wonderful reviews. You know how much that makes me cry and lose sleep at night? Not one iota.
Well, to be fair, Janet, you're Jewish and you're used to being insulted.
Dude, it doesn't bother me. Why doesn't it bother me? Because people have different tastes.
Yeah.
I can't please everybody, and if I tried to, I would never write anything.
This is a very serious question I have here, and I'm totally asking this seriously, and I know Terry and Janet can answer this. If CBS banned people from some kind of forum for asking hard questions or saying, how could you put this show on the air? It's really not good. The New Odd Couple with Matthew Perry.
They could do it. Because it would be their... It's the one thing that people forget is that for all intent and purposes, sites are sites, but sites are privately owned. And there is no such thing, and I swear to you, there is no such thing as freedom of speech on a privately owned site.
It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you're a shareholder and they ban you from shareholder stuff.
Oh, well, no, because there's laws that forbid that. That's what
Terry. But how are they only going to get people praising them?
As a shareholder, you are entitled to get whatever information you can on your investment,
and if
because
you're a
that's your money.
To a project,
there's the problem, though. And
donors aren't shareholders.
Donors aren't shareholders. They're not investors. And once again, to be honest with you, they may be barred from certain things in this whole situation. They are going to lose doubly. I really do believe it. I think they're going to lose doubly because I think they're not going to get their money back because they don't have to get their money back because there's a terms of service that they agreed to when they donated through these
crowdfunding.
But if they didn't get their perks and everything, they sure can get their money back.
Yeah, but
completing the project is part of that, as per Section 4.
Yeah, well, here's the deal.
It's arguable.
Crowdfunding.
No, it says it right in it that it's got to be completed.
Yeah, crowdfunding is a horrible. Sorry, Star Trek continues and other projects. I really am. But the truth is, crowdfunding is such a bad means of putting money into something. It's great for the project creator, but for the people who put the money in, for the donors, you have almost no rights. If you have a problem with this, contact your local representative and have him or her put forth a bill.
Yeah.
Not about Axanar. This is not about Trek. This is about Kickstarter, Indiegogo, Patreon, GoFundMe, and all of those other companies.
Language. Go fund me.
Go fund me, damn it. And have them start legislating this stuff. Sorry, libertarian folks, but have them start legislating this stuff because it's a fucking Wild West out there.
It really
and they're doing whatever they want to with your bucks. And let me tell you, no matter what happens with Axanar, whether any of this stuff is made or not, you know who made money? Kickstarter and Indiegogo. You know who's not going to have to give it up? Kickstarter and Indiegogo. You know who isn't getting sued? Kickstarter and Indiegogo. Put that in your pipes and smoke it, folks.
It's true.
She's turning me on so much.
Oh my God, it's so
I
true
just
though.
made my
It's so
husband laugh.
true. And again, one thing that we discussed, pardon me, briefly, not too, this week and then the past week is, I have big concerns. There are people who are like, well, what's going to happen now if Indiegogo and Kickstarter get put into the sites, the target sites, right? What if CBS and Paramount decided to turn and say, you know what, you also knew that this, if that's the way it's going to go, if CBS and Paramount really wanted to take down the fan productions, that's the way they're going to do it. Really, that's what they're going to attack the crowdsourcing. They really are.
It's where you're going to have to start looking at Craigslist for.
Well, it's not even
for
that.
funding.
I mean, really, it's going to go back to the way that fan productions were always done, and that was
Terry.
in,
Terry, I was making a joke about.
No, you were, but you have to remember,
But
some
it could be
people,
possible.
some people just don't get your level of sarcasm.
I think it's possible, and I actually said this in the first time I blogged about this. It is possible because they were enriched by IP infringement. However,
By like tens of thousands of dollars.
However, if I were CBS and Paramount, I'd be letting that slide. And you know why? It's not that I don't want the bucks, although they kind of don't need them. It's that if you want anybody to bring it in, you want Defense to bring it in, maybe as to kick in, to add a little money and sweeten the pot. Because if Defense brings in Kickstarter and Indiegogo, then Kickstarter and Indiegogo's wrath is not going to be against CBS and Paramount. It's going to be against Axanar.
Right.
And so this is where you really poison your own well.
Right. And not the least of which is we have yet to see anything that came out of CBS or Paramount that makes any of us believe that they're targeting anybody else at this time. Their only target is Axanar. And Alec Peters. Their only target is Axanar and Alec Peters. Why? Because that's the only people they have sued. That's
right.
the only people they have sued to date. They haven't sued Kickstarter. They haven't sued Indiegogo. They have made no mention, and there's nothing on the radar that says that they're going to. They certainly haven't pursued Continues or Horizons or
no ceases or desists have been issued that we are aware of.
Correct. That we're aware of.
That we're aware of. I mean, it's possible that C&Ds did go out, but again, they're letters, so it's very possible we would never know. Those things are not public record, believe it or not. They're just not. Why? Because they're cease and desist letters. They're actually really nice ways of telling somebody, hey, look, we think what you're doing stinks. Try not to poke the skunk with a stick. We're asking you don't poke the skunk with a stick. That's what a C&D is. So
don't poke the Mugatu.
Seriously. So if C&Ds went out, we just don't know about them, and nobody's talking about them. I doubt anything severe really has, because we're still seeing crowdfunded and other fan productions moving forward uninhibited. So all we can say right now with a concrete assertion is that CBS and Paramount are pissed at Axanar, and that's who they're going after. Whether or not in the future it affects other fan productions, we have yet to see. And then, yes, it is a possibility. It is.
Yeah. People keep asking us. They keep, as if that's some sort of an issue. Well, they're not going after anybody else. Well, you know something? They might tomorrow.
Yeah.
They have the right to go after whoever they want.
That's exactly right.
Yes,
they own the fucking copyright.
Hey, I need to talk to you. Listener mail.
Now we also had a little fun on YouTube. We had a nice comment from someone who was extremely concerned about a use of Klingon as a language and about us. And I was touched.
G&T show us Gates of Stovacor under Busy Little Beaver. Yeah,
I was touched by the obvious love and concern from this comment. I mean, really, some people, they really are the salt of the earth, and they're just wonderful. And I just, God bless you. You really made me verklempt.
And should I read what my response was?
I will refrain from commenting yet again.
Okay. Well, I'm there was a concern that because I, as a fan I was in a fan production. I am in a fan production. The fan production still goes on, and it's a Klingon fan production. It's a Stovacor, which is an audio drama that we actually, that not we, but Busy Little Beaver puts out. And Alpha Omega 1500 posted a concern that maybe we might be sued because we used Klingon and I played a Klingon character and spoke Klingon in the fan production. Here's my response. Nice to see you posting on our channel, and it's so awesome that you remember that I voiced a Klingon character in Gates of Stovacor. However, I can't speak Klingon. I never learned the language on my own. I bought the licensed books, and I had a member of the Klingon Language Institute guide me through the very few Klingon lines I had. It was awesome. I also was flattered that you were concerned about us potentially being sued by CBS. To date, that has not happened, and we're grateful. But if they ever did tell us to stop, we most certainly would. They own it, and we don't. We love Trek, and we're happy that CBS and Paramount have, to date, allowed us to play in the sandbox. It's a sandbox that we have no intention of spoiling for us or for others. And once again, Alpha Omega, good to hear from you. So that's it. I mean, really.
You didn't threaten them?
No, why would I?
You didn't call him a hater?
He didn't. Why was he a hater? He was concerned about us. He was concerned
they
about
obviously
us
are a
being
hater.
sued, and I thought it was sweet that he brought that to our attention.
Haters.
He wasn't a hater.
Of course they were. Were they praising you? Then they're a hater. Were they
he wasn't
slurping
knocking
you?
me.
Were they licking Mike's ball sack? Then they're a hater.
Oh, there's an image for you, folks.
Yeah.
Man, Hagrid must be a anyway.
Oh well.
Moving right along, kids.
Seriously.
We do have another voicemail.
Mike pushing that boulder to the side.
Yeah, well, go for it. Yay!
Oh, love me, hold me, love me. Just wanna touch you for a minute, a minute, a minute. Let's play a love game. Oh.
Thank you, Adrienne.
2 weeks in a row.
Thank you, Adrienne. That was awesome.
I love her so much.
Adrienne makes me laugh. Didn't we do that last week?
No, we meant to.
Yeah, we never got around to
That's
it.
so
By the
awesome.
way-
Thank you, Adrienne. What
by
is
the
that?
way-
No.
That's Adrian.
That
That's
is
all you
Adrian.
need to know. Back off, big man. By the way, Adrian was looking for something for STLV to do, and I came up with an idea that she's going to run with, and I'm so happy because it's so
Let
absurd.
her announce it.
No, I'm not going to, but it's so absurd. Well, it's from me, so it would be. That it's going to be awesome.
You know, Son put the gif of the bunny eating the piece of lettuce, and it's like a piece of lettuce that never,
GIF.
whatever. I drink gin. So
Moving picture.
it's like the lettuce that never goes away. All right, you guys, we
Look,
have
it's
a
Dave
50
Mack.
for 50. No, we have a 50 for 50. We do. We have to do the 50 for 50.
What's your favorite episode? GNT shows 50 for 50.
And Kojiro is here. Yay!
I'm a little
Kojiro.
disappointed in our listeners after something that I asked yesterday.
And what was that, Nick?
That Lower Decks rated fairly low.
Well, out of 700 and something episodes or 600 and something episodes?
Didn't make the top 50. Fairly low.
It rated 100 on the overall list. I'm sorry, 99.
See, that's unacceptable, people.
But it was also the 24th ranked TNG episode.
See, that's
So-
just no,
Well, it's in the top 20%.
no, not good enough.
So Kojiro Vance is with us, and we're going to talk about our 50 for 50. And again, for listeners who may not know or may just be listening to your first episode, first we apologize. 50 for 50 is the top 50 Star Trek live-action Star Trek episodes ranked in order, all of them in order by you, our listeners. We put out a poll the middle of last year that Kojiro here has been awesome enough to kind of
Was it
handle.
really the middle of last year already?
It was.
I think we
Wow.
started it in September,
Wow,
right after the Vegas trip.
feels like yesterday.
It does. And they ranked all 600 plus live action episodes.
Right.
And we have the top 50 of those episodes in celebration of the 50th anniversary of.
As voted
So-
on by you, our listeners.
listeners.
And Mike, what is the disclaimer with this?
You have no one to blame but yourselves.
That's right. That's right.
I think that's our tagline now for
You have
50
no
for
one to
50.
blame but yourself.
50 for 50. You have no one to blame
So
but yourself.
what number What number are we up to?
Okay, well, today we're going to be doing number 22 and 21. So why don't we start with number 22 on the list? It was a DS9, Season 3, Episode 21. The Die is Cast.
I love anything that has to do with gambling. So this episode was very... what? It didn't...
Yeah, no.
Oh.
This episode is actually the second half of a two-parter.
Yes.
That starts with just to give the background, it starts with Garrick is the victim of an attack in his shop. And then we see a visit from some of his former cohorts with when he was, a member of the
Gideon Order.
Yes, exactly. And basically it starts a whole process of there's going to be a first strike against the Dominion using the Romulans and the Cardassians kind of together. And Tain is the one who kind of puts this all together. So that's what happens in the first episode. Now we're seeing the second episode of this, which is there's a big, massive fleet that decloaks and goes into the wormhole. And it's obvious that they're going to do a first strike against the Dominion. And of course, they have Odo as a prisoner, basically to try to get information from him about how they're going to attack the Dominion. So that's kind of the setup. What are your thoughts,
Nick?
Garrick is truly frightening and sympathetic at the same time in this episode.
There's a real dynamic with Garrick in this one because we know that he has this nefarious past. We still don't know exactly everything about it. But we get a little bit of a taste of it because of his conversations with Tain about, how he was an interrogator and the way he was able to manipulate people and he was very good at it.
And so the scene where he's begging Odo, give me something, anything.
Well, that's just
please. It's just so brilliant.
Because we think of him as being ruthless, and even Tain thinks of him as being ruthless. But when he gets in there and he has to interrogate Odo, you see that there's more to him than that. He's not that one-dimensional. He has a relationship with Odo that we're going to find out a little bit more about it through the course of the interrogation, just because of the way he becomes sympathetic. He does not want to harm Odo, and he is obviously doing everything he can to prevent that, but he's in a sticky situation where he has to be the interrogator.
And I love the guy that played Tain. I thought he was so good in that role.
Yeah, he was pretty psycho, though, towards the end. He really goes off the deep end. But I think the best part of this whole episode, though, is what you brought up, is the window into Garrick. And there's a picture that just came up in the chat room, too, where he's got his hands down. I mean, he's just like, after he finally gets something from Odo and realizes it's not something that they can use for what their purpose, but it was something highly personal, he's almost ashamed of what he did.
I always saw him as never wanting to undertake the interrogation to begin with, because he knew that he trusted Odo enough to know that what Odo put into his report was all that was there.
He knew there was no information to be had that was strategic for them.
Right. And the problem was that he was put into that weird position by Tain, his father.
Mm-hmm.
And
I don't think we know that he's his father yet.
But after knowing that he was, it puts that relationship, doesn't it? What he does makes absolute perfect sense. Right.
And I was going to speak on a little bit about that as well, because this episode reveals a lot about Garrick's upbringing. I mean, Tain is his father. His mother, Mila, the housekeeper, and how callously Tain wanted to eliminate her because she knew too much. It kind of showed the kind of upbringing he had and how dysfunctional it was. How he became this person that
is
he
it dysfunctional though, or is it Cardassian?
That's exactly what's dysfunctional to us.
It's Obsidian Order dysfunctional.
But to draw a parallel, if
the average Cardassian does not act this way, I don't believe.
Well, Well, you don't know, because look at how the Soviet Union acted, or people that lived in Nazi Germany. They were constantly in fear of things like that. So there are parallels to real world.
Yes.
And not the least of which is you add that secondary layer of a child who's being raised in
trying to earn
when
his
you're
father's
raised
love.
in a society, you're raised in a society, you believe that that's what's right.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also a follow-up to this episode that's wonderful, in my opinion. The prison camp.
Yeah.
Later on, I think it's like next season or two. But it's just there's just so much here, and it's just wonderful.
Garak definitely had daddy issues.
Yes.
Huge daddy issues. And but this was brilliantly written, brilliantly acted. Although I have to say, and you're going to laugh, I have to say that the whole Defiant thing where they come in to the rescue and they're the ones that get to rescue Garak and Odo. And they do so by essentially breaking orders.
I wanted to mention that because there's a trope in Star Trek
There is.
and they do it in this one, and it's like whenever you want to not follow an order, it's a garbled transmission. We didn't get that. What did you say? What? Oh no, I didn't hear the order that told us not to do this. And how often do they go to that one in Star Trek? I mean, it's like in Starfleet, if you want to just disobey, I didn't hear that order.
Well, and you know what's funny is I was talking to somebody about that very thing. If I tried to pull that if I tried to pull that in the field, even now we have something called Blue Force Tracker, which I don't know if you've ever heard of. It's the computers that are in Humvees and all that can show you where like your Humvee is, where all the Humvees and and text messages can be sent over that as well. So if somebody said, "Hey, you don't take your vehicle down that street."
They've seen one too many episodes of Star Trek as well.
Yeah, don't take your vehicle down that street. They could also send it via text. So I'm surprised Starfleet never sent a message that
a transcription of what their orders were.
Well, what they did was they sent what's his name, Eddington, who sabotages the ship.
Yeah.
Which again, that's kind of a drastic way to do it. Okay, so we think you're going to disobey an order, so we'll send somebody to sabotage your ship and possibly kill you all just to avoid disobeying the order.
Exactly. I was like, thanks, Starfleet.
That's a pretty broad stroke to take.
I mean, there's so much
kind of poor management there.
foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Just a bit.
I mean, we knowing who Eddington later becomes.
Oh, right.
It's like, was he really working for Starfleet at that moment in
That's
time?
a good point, too.
Probably not.
I think he was. I really do. And the reason why is because at the end, and again, tropey is, you disobeyed orders. Guffaw. I could
here's the slap on the wrist.
But I might promote you.
Oh, yeah. Next time you do it, we'll either bust you or promote you. Either way, you're going to be in
Now, one thing I'd like to say about the performances in this is, and I think it goes to show the bias that is changing. We have to admit now it's changing towards genre shows, in that Andrew J. Robinson should have been nominated for a supporting actor for his work as Garak.
There was another great moment in this episode, right at the end too, where he's going through his blown up shop, kind of picking things up, and Odo comes in, and they have a little scene there at the end. It's the end. The way it was filmed was fascinating, and I didn't remember this from the first time, but Terry and I rewatched this last night, and the whole scene is a close up of Garak with Odo in a reflection out
in the
of
mirror.
Focus.
Yep.
And they never changed the camera angle for that entire conversation. Not once. You are constantly focused on Garak. And during that time, you see him go through 3 or 4 different subtexts while they're sitting there just focused on it. And I thought, that's a really different choice for a Star Trek episode.
And it was absolutely compelling.
Deep Space Nine did a lot of out-of-the-box Star Trek directorial stuff like that.
They had the creative opportunity to do so because they were allowed to have characters that evolved.
And when just with Garak, when it comes to scenes like in the 7th season, when he totally goes off on Ezri and then he says, "Now get out of here before I say something unkind." Oh
Right.
my God, I love Garrick so much.
So what's Janet? Did you have anything to say?
I actually didn't get a chance to watch this because
Oh,
school. Sorry. Sorry.
That's all right. So
That's all
school.
right.
That's
Later.
cool.
Oh, I had my studies.
Well, this is the episode
Call
that
my
we
professor.
talked about last week, or that we were supposed to talk about last week, Janet. So I believe you emailed us your thoughts on
Oh,
it.
the other one. Yeah.
Yeah,
On
That one I did get a chance to look at.
and I don't have my email
Toshiro,
open.
what episode in?
Okay, well, number 21 is a TNG episode. It is season 6, episode 4, Relics. And this is the Scotty episode.
You know, what's funny is I'm just going to start right off with it and just say I want to say this is probably the third time I've seen Relics, and I liked it better this time than I did when I saw it the first time.
Why is that?
It felt more natural this time.
Allow me to retort.
I did. I liked it better. I thought that it wasn't when I first saw it. It felt a little forced and a little cheesy. There's still some cheesy things, no doubt.
Mhm.
There's still some forced things again because they only had 40 minutes to tell a story about a man who was dealing with a lot of shit. And what I kind of this time I kissed it off to his oversensitivity about his age and his usefulness, because really that's really what Scotty was in this. He's extremely oversensitive and he's kind of overbearing.
No, please allow me
Wait,
to
no,
retort.
just for a little bit. He is please listen. I believe it more now because I understand where he was when he was on the Janolan. Here's a guy who
Jay is
doesn't
virgin.
have a sense of time, right? Yes, it's been 75 years, but he hasn't experienced that time loss. So what he was feeling on the Janolan is how he feels when he comes out of the transporter. He was feeling useless when the ship crashed. That feeling didn't change when he came out of the transporter. He was still dealing with those issues of I don't want to retire. It made far more sense to me at this age than it did when I was 20. Does that sound okay? That's where I was going with this.
Yeah.
Do I?
Well, let's hear
I don't-
Nick's retort.
Yeah. And he's going to say he wasn't overbearing. No, he wasn't. He was being sweet. But go for it.
I think that the command crew failed miserably in this episode. How many people are on the Enterprise D?
Over
800.
1,000, right?
Yeah, I think it's over
1,000, right?
Yeah.
You've got to think the original, the 1701, no bloody A, B, C, or D, had a historian. So wouldn't you think that the Galaxy class would have at least one historian on it?
Oh, I don't disagree with you there.
Yeah.
They
Yeah, I
couldn't
wanted
have
somebody on
somebody be Scotty's guide, shadow, somebody for him to be with,
His yeoman, if you will.
Yeah.
pick his brain, to hear his stories. And sorry, but they, with the exception of Picard, in that
Yes.
utterly brilliant scene,
Agreed.
Oh, the
in
scene
the
in the
holodeck.
holodeck is
Oh.
awesome.
utterly brilliant.
Yeah.
They treated him like shit.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
And this is a guy who the Federation was kind of built on his back in a lot of ways, with as far as engineering, and they couldn't spare one lieutenant to be his
If
partner
anything,
during
it
his
should
time
have
there?
been Troy.
like, yeah.
Troy should
Because-
have been on his arm the whole time.
And to me, even the first time I've seen it, and every time, it always has pissed me off. Why did he become overbearing? Because they were treating him shitty.
I don't disagree.
Right.
Yeah. They
Absolutely.
dismissed him as being useless, which and as Terry said, that he didn't like the idea that he was retiring anyway, and then that's exactly what people did, is they just sort of shoveled him off to the side. You know, screw you, old man, get out of my way.
Fuck, Guinan could have been his guide.
Yeah, there should have been the historians and
'Cause
archaeologists
she
should have
lived
been on
during that
board.
time. She could have commiserated with him.
Even if there was nobody on board, even if there wasn't, why not set him up with somebody at Starfleet or some other place where there's some historian studying this time period? That
No.
person probably would have been talking to him every 24/7.
Right, but I'm
And-
saying while he's on the ship, they
Yeah.
1,000 people. There's somebody there, and to say, well, the command staff doesn't have to. Well, I understand they're all in the main titles. That's why you have to do it. But he felt useless because they made him feel useless.
I would say Sun said the only person to treat him with some sense of dignity was Data, and I would even argue Crusher.
Yeah, Crusher did
yeah.
too.
The moral of the story can simply be said as respect your elders.
No shit. And here's at the end. Okay, so they give him a shuttle and kind of go where you want. But I can also say right now, I don't think Starfleet would have let that happen.
You know what?
Right.
That
Right.
kind of pissed me off. That was the equivalent of here's your igloo or here's your
ice flow.
Get on it. Get the fuck
Yeah.
out.
Garbled
Oh my God, Mike, we were
instructions
on the
right
same
there.
page with that.
Right. Well, it seems a
Time to
bit
ride off into the
dismissive.
freaking sunset.
It's so dismissive at the end because it's like, oh, I thought we were going to go get a drink. No, we're going to put you we're here at the shuttle. We're going to put you in a shuttle. Now leave.
Now get the hell off our ship. I
I
swear
know.
to God.
So when Picard is asked by the powers that be, what happened to your extra shuttle? When they're looking at the books and the budget report, suddenly communication sounds like Charlie Brown's teacher.
Starfleet doesn't care about shuttles. That has been
That is true.
it demonstrated
It's
time
proved-
and
Even
time
in
again.
Voyager,
Even in
yes.
the books, I think Riker has I think he's going through jazz musicians
Shuttles
like there's no
are,
tomorrow.
Shuttles are a write-off.
There
at
was
Starfleet.
actually a cut scene where Picard actually got these secret investors to come and pay for the shuttle, and
It was.
and that's how it was accounted for. So
But no,
Anyway.
Terry,
Oh my
and
God.
that's what bugged me about this episode
Yeah,
was
I get
here
that.
they have a true Now, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If it had been Kirk that had been stuck in that transporter,
Yeah.
do you think they would have treated Kirk that way? Or
To be
Spock?
honest with you, no. I know what the writers were going for. The writers were really trying to get this whole Scotty was feeling useless, and they
Out of
really wanted to
place, yeah.
they over dramatized it.
mhm.
They over
By
dramatized it.
yeah, by
But goddamn, Doohan was awesome in this
Oh,
episode.
Oh yeah,
that
Absolutely,
the
he was
scene
wonderful.
in the holodeck between Captain Scott and Captain Picard is one of the top scenes in any Star Trek. Just it's two great actors sharing a scene, and you can tell Patrick Stewart's joy of that scene
Yeah.
while they're filming it.
yeah.
And
Definitely.
and it really did. For all of again, so Data, Crusher, and Picard all respected him highly enough to be able to she respected him as a man and a patient. Data was caring enough to kind of go and say, "I'll
It's
help you
green.
at the bar, right? It's great.
Yeah.
I'll find you. I'll
That's
find
right.
you the.
Look.
I'll find you the real booze." And then Picard becomes that wonderful experienced officer who sees the other experienced officer and sees himself
Mhm.
in him. And it's the first time I really get that sense of, or one of the first times that you really get that sense of humanity coming out of Picard, where he kind of lightens himself up a little bit and
Mhm.
slams back the
There was a-
Aldebaran. Is it Aldebaran whiskey?
Mhm.
There's
There was
a-
another first.
what's that?
What's that?
It was also the first time that we got to see the Enterprise fly at something other than a horizontal plane.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Did you know that she could fly at 90 degrees? I sure didn't.
Ooh.
This episode is a lot of people that think Geordi's a jerk point to this episode.
Well, I was going to say, we kept talking about people not treating him correctly. Actually, everybody had a great moment with him, but Geordi's the one that actually treats him as a dick. I mean, yeah, he's annoyed. He's trying to get some work done and everything like that. But God, he was so,
That lightened up a little bit when they got onto the Janolan and he
It
started to
did.
realize why Picard ordered him or asked him to be there.
yeah.
And it was a good move. Also, except for the fact that they went into the Janolan sphere without the two best engineers in
Yeah.
Starfleet.
I know.
Yeah,
It's
good
like,
point.
I
Well,
think
they
we
didn't
forgot
intend to
something.
go in. They
Well-
got pulled in.
I'm
Well,
just saying Riker
We've got
did his
Turek.
shit. I'm just saying.
Well, yeah. Riker goes, "I'm going to go work on the engines," and then we don't even see him for the rest of the episode.
But he got it fucking fixed, didn't
Well,
he?
that's
Because they
true.
were able to get out.
And I liked how the relics title in this episode kind of really fit with everything that was going on. I mean, the
Double
ship
meaning,
was
yeah.
triple meaning. The ship was a relic. The Scotty was a quote unquote a relic, and then the Dyson sphere
The
was
Dyson
I
definitely
hadn't
a
even
relic.
thought about the Janolan.
So,
That's really a
yeah,
good point.
I mean,
I'd
it
never
was-
thought of that.
We got a threefer. And going real quick, who who else, when watching this, had flashbacks from Star Wars? You know, the Millennium Falcon trying to escape the Death Star.
Definitely, it's a similar
it
kind
had
of
a look
shot.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Janet, I know you wrote a whole trieste on this.
Yes.
So,
A lot of my points have been made. You know that Scotty kind of got some fan service in there that I thought was a little silly, where he gets to say, "I cannot change the laws of physics."
right.
But thank God nobody asked him to beam them up.
Oh,
Thank
you know
Lord.
what? They couldn't have Scotty on and not have a Scottyism.
Yeah.
But at least
but
it was one
like,
that,
oh, come on already.
yeah, at least it was one that wasn't in your
It
face.
actually
bad.
worked. It worked.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the thing.
You know, the other part that I thought was great was when he gives Geordi the lesson about how to define the time to get things done.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Yes,
didn't tell
the
him how
project
long it
Are you
really takes.
serious, man?
That
You're
was
giving him an
brilliant.
honest estimate.
Yeah. It's going to take a week, but we don't have a week, so.
That's actually
That's how he
good
becomes
project
a miracle
management.
worker. That's
Yeah,
how he
it
becomes
is.
a miracle worker.
How else are you going to become a miracle worker? Exactly.
It was for selfish reasons, certainly, but it's actually very good project management to overestimate your time and overestimate your budget, and then when you come in under it, but you should also learn from that and adjust. You know, you don't say it's going to take a year when it's going to take 2 hours, but you know,
Yeah.
at the same time, you should overestimate stuff because it gives people a window. I mean, this is how people survive in this
And flexibility.
dangerous condition.
I mean,
And you
there's
never know
unforeseen
what's going to come
happens.
up either.
Yes.
I mean, you
Right.
could be working on something and then something else happens, you know? You never know. So you got to build yourself in a cushion, you know, like me. Never mind. I was going to, never mind.
D'Onofrio
I must
put
be
in.
tired because I just censored myself.
Oh wow, D'Onofrio put in the chat room one of my favorite lines, and it showed the beauty and the subtlety of Doohan's acting, which was the whole Geordi. I've spent my whole life trying to figure out crazy ways of doing things, and I'm telling you, as one engineer to another, I can do this. And it's the look in his eyes, and it's
Yep.
just this beautiful
And the tone of voice.
and it was so beautiful and so poignant, and you just wanted to take him in your arms and go, "It's gonna be okay, Scotty, I swear."
You can't watch this episode and not want to give Scotty a hug.
Seriously. So,
Now, something
I'm
else
just
this
saying that
episode did.
what was that?
Something else this episode did. This episode also opened up for the Starfleet Corps of Engineers and Scotty being in
Yes.
that and all of that,
Yes.
which it was a series of ebooks first, which was well ahead of its time, and then published stories in print of Starfleet Corps of Engineers, where Scotty is a big part of it, and that it was because I don't know if they would have gone with that. Well, they couldn't have, not for the Corps of Engineers, with Scotty being involved with that. So that was a nice way that the writers, the book writers, were able to continue Scotty's legacy.
I agree. Couldn't agree more. Well, I think that wraps it up. Once
Well-
again, a little over. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Go
going to
for it
go
for
ahead
next
and give you the next couple of episodes.
Sweet.
But before I do
Yes.
that, we're now in the top 20. And so I wanted to recap a little bit. So far, we've had 10 TNG episodes, 8 DS9 episodes, 8 Enterprise episodes, 3 original series episodes, and 1 Voyager episode. So
Wow.
kind of tease the top 20 here. We know we're done with Enterprise, so there's no more Enterprise episodes coming. We do have 2 Voyager episodes coming up.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I can think of one or two. No, seriously.
Threshold.
One of them will make the top 10, I will tell you as well. TOS, we have 3 episodes left.
Wow. Well, yeah, it's not a surprise.
Yeah, there's not as many episodes, too. TNG, we have 5 episodes left. DS9, we have 10 episodes.
Wow.
So
I
the
like to
top
hear.
20.
Uh-huh.
DS9 took 10 of the top 20.
10 of the top 20.
But
And
I don't understand. It's the least popular of all the shows. It's
That
not
is
Star
not
Trek.
true. You overdramatic bitch.
That's
Well,
This
we're gonna get-
is the reason why
Terry?
we need it on Blu-ray.
Terry.
Please
Don't
remaster
disagree.
DS9.
What?
Mike can tell you. Mike, is that not something that a thing that we both follow? DS9. There's people. Oh, it's the least popular. It had low ratings. Blah blah blah.
What?
blah,
People
blah,
say that. People
Oh, they're
say that.
smoking
But,
dope.
but it's
That's pretty funny. Well, the next 2
the
episodes...
labels are reversed there, Donofrio.
The next two
No,
episodes.
Janeway's got the
All
bigger
right.
mustache.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay, go ahead, Alan.
All right. Well, the next two episodes. This is kind of interesting because this will be the first time I've seen this happen. These two are a virtual tie in the way that they were scored. The voting is identical all the way
Wow.
across the board on it. They also happen to be two DS9 episodes, and they are back-to-back episodes in production.
Wow.
So these are from DS9 season 5. They are episodes 14 and 15, and they are In Purgatory's Shadow and By Inferno's Light.
God, they had some great titles.
Yeah, they did. I really love the way they title the DS9 episodes. So that's for next week.
Can you repeat them one more
Yeah.
time for
Number
those of us taking
19 is DS9 season 5 episode 14, In Purgatory's Shadow, and number 20 is the next episode, season 5, episode 15, By Inferno's Light.
So they're actually reversed. So when we're counting down, we're going to go number 20 first, which is actually the second episode of the first. Of the
I
two.
suggest talking about them
In order?
tandem because
Okay.
they're back-to-back episodes.
So 19 and 20 we'll talk about together.
And that's for next week.
Very interesting about.
Well, it's interesting that they were a literal tie. I mean, if I look at the way the voting went on it, it's the same number of excellence, the same number of goods, all the way down, and they didn't have anything that scored under those top two. There wasn't an okay, not so much, or anything. They scored either excellent or good on these two.
Wow.
So
So one of the most consistent performers. Some of the most consistent performers. That's interesting.
This also is the first time that we've had two shows from the same series come up together.
I think so.
seems
Before it's
right.
been one and something else, and this is the first time it's a double feature.
you're right. We have not had a back-to-back in the same week.
Science fiction double feature.
Well, that is awesome. Well, thank you, Kojiro, as
You're welcome.
always. It was awesome talking about the two from this week. I'm looking forward to next week. April. Oh, gee, freaking.
I have something to say. Announcements!
And do not forget, Friday, April 1st. Mike,
Yes, we
what
have a
time?
special.
I made a mistake last time. I don't want to make one again.
No, you don't, Mr. Man.
Give me a minute. So vamp until then.
It will
So-
be Dayton Ward and Kevin Dillmore
Oh, very cool.
to discuss, to break finally the I was going to say the NSA, the NDA.
The NDA.
God, I'm tired.
They have some kind of a secret that they're going to release on April 1st, April
Yep.
Fool's Day. And they.
And swear
Mike,
that
you
it's
have been in
not-
contact with
I
them,
have been
correct?
in contact, and they say it's legit. It's not a prank on us, but
Which it would make sense because an NDA would probably end on the first day of the month or the last day of a month, and I can see where they would be. So I'm placing my trust hesitantly.
Jesus.
well, I mean, we love Dayton and Kevin anyway. So
I would
mean,
love to have them
we're
on
gonna
even if
have-
they were pulling my leg.
But this
Are
is
you kidding?
Exactly.
live, people.
But
This
this
is
is
a live.
live.
They wanted to break it live.
And
Yeah,
that's what's so freaking
and-
cool.
It's going to be at 6 p.m., which means all the time zones will officially be the day after, or the April on the 1st.
Mhm.
So that clears up all the legal things that
Right.
are holding them back. So worldwide announcement. Everyone be there. 6 p.m. Pacific, midnight or 9 p.m. Eastern. Check. Figure out your own times. Damn it.
We have no idea what time it'll be in Samoa, by the
I
way.
don't, anyways.
It'll be 9:30 in Newfoundland.
On Thursday.
Yeah.
Again, so join us
Now-
on Friday, April 1st.
Terry, did
That's-
Mike tell you what they did to him, though, regarding the time? They were batting it back and forth. Oh, ask Dayton. Oh, ask Kevin. Ask
Yes.
Dayton. Ask
Well,
Kevin.
that doesn't surprise me in the least.
I had tennis neck.
Well, join us live for a very special G&T show.
It's a very special G&T show.
After school.
Starring me, I'm Bialik. No, I'm sorry. Dayton Ward and Kevin Dillmore. And
Is that a Blossom reference?
it
Wow.
was this week on a very special Blossom.
Blossom gets her first period.
I cannot change the laws of physics, Blossom.
Wow.
You owe me a computer because I just spit soda all over my computer.
Oh, too funny.
Fuck.
And so, again, join us live on Friday, April 1st at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern for Kevin Dillmore and Dayton Ward. And then we'll be back next week on Sunday, April 4th for another episode of the G&T Show, episode 331. Or 231. Jesus, where was I coming that one? I just added 100 episodes to our
What
life.
did you say?
Dude,
Did I
Episode
sleep that
6,000
long?
coming
Time
up.
traveling.
there you go. 75
She
years
rocked
in the
us.
Janole and Dyson sphere. All right, you guys. Thanks again for joining. Do we have any other announcements before I get cut off?
We've got the supplemental log with Star Trek Continues. Check that out. Nick has a new Gettysburg Address, so check that out. And
We had
there will
a
be
wonderful
more
episode last
coming.
week with James Swallow,
oh yes, thank you.
writer of a brand new book out for the original series. Please give it a read. Again, you can pre-order your Star Trek Encyclopedia at your favorite bookseller. And
Mike, was there anything that we forgot last week? Because I could have sworn you said at the end of last week, oh shit, I forgot to say.
Oh, that was a comment after listening to the thing. It was like when I'm editing, it's like, oh, I should have said that. Or I
Oh,
should have
okay,
said that.
okay.
And,
Oh, okay.
Just making sure.
yeah, it was some kind of reference to something that we discussed last week, and it was like, oh man, that would have been brilliant. But
Janet,
And-
you missed my rant last week.
I know, but I did hear it.
Okay, good.
I listened. I listened to the G&T show, folks.
And remember, pimp us out to your friends. Seriously, keep pimping us out. Be nice to see some people tweeting about us. Just saying, son.
You can follow us on
We
Twitter
appreciate your
at
support.
SundayGNT. Janet, where can they follow you?
For serious kind of stuff, Shrinking Jess, that's one S, leave off last S for savings. For more tricky, sort of writery kind of stuff, it's Jespa Trek Fan FI, and those are both Twitter. I will have a school Twitter thing, but that's going to be in a few months, so but keep it in mind. Thank you.
And what about you, Kajira?
Well, I'm on Facebook and I also on Twitter, MFABFD at Twitter.
And Nick?
I'm in Love God. I'm sorry, that's something else.
that's your private
different one.
one.
Yeah, that's the one I don't talk about. I'm at Gettysburg 7, and that is the number 7.
Mikey?
I am Soridium STO. That's SORIEDEM STO, and on Facebook I'm misspelled. Not
Oh.
MIS.
It's
spelled, but
MIZZPELLED, misspelled.
The I and the E are reversed, and
knows
there's no
politics.
STO at the end. But
Misspelt
What
of
a mess,
2016.
Mike.
Huh?
What a mess.
I blame Facebook. They won't let me change it.
Yeah, they don't let you change it.
I don't understand. I see people changing their...
Once you change it once, you're
Oh.
stuck. And I had changed it, and then I realized, oh crap, I spelled it wrong. Can't even spell my last
Can't
name
even.
backwards correctly.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Terry Lynn S. That's TERILYNNS as in Sam. And that's kind of it. Thanks, you guys. If you can please follow us on Facebook, follow us on YouTube, subscribe, and follow on Pinterest and everything else. It really does help. And we will see you next week, or we will hopefully see you in the chat room next week at gntshow.com/streaming. Till then, live long and prosper.
God, you crazy kids.
Happy holidays and enjoy your weekend. Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.
Joel True, hockey pucks.
Music for the GNT show is provided by 5 Year Mission, Enterprise Blues Band, Warp 11, Andrew Allen, and Greth Thor. The GNT show is a BLB production.
Move ahead, walk factor 10. Put a mini skirt on my yo man. Represent be no cons or COVID.